All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Market Close. We are here today ending out Friday, December 20th, 3:46 p.m. We are here today. And we got a lot to talk about. We got a lot to talk about. We have a pretty exciting end of market close. We kind of thought this was coming. It is here now. I don't think in the next 14 minutes, hopefully nothing changes, but I'm sure everyone's been looking at their screens, at their portfolios, at their Palantir throughout the day. I don't think we're going to get that $80 close, but we got close to it, folks. We got very, very close. Market's up. Market is up. We got a recovery. At least today, we can say we got a recovery. There's the S&P 500, 592.18. We're green, baby. 1.36% up on the day. You got Bitcoin trying to make its way back to 97 from bottoming at 92. You got Palantir 79.25. We got to 79.91. I don't think it's out of the question that in 14 minutes, maybe we could get that $80 close. But I think there is a good shot we close above 79, which would be incredible. Robinhood, great day as well. 38.35. You got a chance to buy it at 34.02 if you were up at like 5 a.m. Right now, 38.35, up 3.83%. Rocket Lab's up. Tesla slightly down, but Tesla's still a nice recovery from the bottoms. Overall, people stepped in and they bought the dip. People stepped in and they bought the dip. And that's what we're going to talk about on this market close. Now, a couple of things. Number one, I don't know if Steve will be able to join, but I am going to have Sam. You guys know Sam. He was on a couple weeks ago. He's going to be joining and giving his Nubank and Mercado Libre thesis at about 4:05. So we'll have him on the show. We'll get his thoughts on some of the other stocks. But Nubank is a name that he's been researching a lot. I know a lot of you guys are interested about that name. So we will be talking about Nubank with him and some of the other names that he is looking at. And then if Steve's available, we will see if we can get Steve on the show. Now, first of all, real quick on Palantir, and then we'll keep going from there. There are 229,000 shares at 80. So we've got 12 minutes to potentially crack 229,000 shares. Let's see. I mean, look, there's a lot of call options open on Palantir. You still have $6.5 trillion of options that are expiring today. Some of them got in the money today because we had a nice little move to the upside. Some of them are still out of the money. So on a day with all this quad witching stuff happened, which we talked about in the morning in terms of the simultaneous expiration of index options, index futures, stock options, etc., you're getting a lot of volatility. The volatility is just going up, not down. And that's probably because we went down already over the past couple of days after what I am now calling the J. Powell presser sell-off. So take a look at some of these stocks and how they returned. I calculated all of them just about 20 minutes ago and put out this tweet. Palantir's up 13% from the lows, and the percentage lows are calculated from basically 4 to 5 a.m. this morning in the pre-markets, right before we got the PCE data, because that's pretty much when most of these stocks put in a bottom. Robinhood's up 12.5%. Tesla's up 6%. Nvidia's up 6%. Google's up 5%. Rocket Lab 17.3%. Bitcoin 5%. MicroStrategy 19%. SoFi 9%. QQQ 3%. S&P 2%. IWM 2%. Coinbase 10%. Grab 3%. Amazon 4%. Apple 3%. Square 6%. AMD 3%. Shopify 7%. Reddit 10%. It's safe to say, outside of a few outliers like Novo Nordisk that are dealing with some FDA issues, if you bought anything over the past couple of days, particularly this morning or yesterday after hours towards the overnight trading session around basically 10 p.m. to 2 a.m., I mean, you got some pretty good dips and you got some pretty good returns. And it's not that bad. It's not that bad at all in terms of what we're seeing. Let me know if anyone bought the dip today, if anyone got anything. I did buy a little bit more Grab, but that is pretty much it for me. Yeah, we got it. We got a nice little recovery today. Now, look, I don't want to say we're out of the woods yet. I still think that next week potentially could be volatile. I still think that there could be other external forces. Look at Enovix, by the way, up 20%, Affirm up about 4% as well. That could take the markets down, could lead to more volatility. But in general, I think we can all come to the conclusion, Palantir right here getting rejected heavy at 79.30, now 78.65. I think we can all come to the conclusion that it is pretty obvious the sell-off that we saw over the past 3 days was more algorithmic. It was definitely, I think at this point, algorithms trying to get weak hands out of the market. There was no reason to sell Palantir at 70 or to sell Robinhood at 34 or to sell SoFi almost at 14. Like, there was no reason other than 2 cuts versus 3 cuts next year. Like, that cannot be a reason. It just, as we said this morning, you can't sell off Meta because you want to buy the 10-year, because quite frankly, the 10-year probably doesn't know how many rate cuts we're going to get, even if the 10-year has an opinion on how many rate cuts we're going to get. And if that's the case, then this was a buy the dip opportunity. It was a little bit of a mini August 5th, and that is why we're getting some of the excitement that we are seeing currently right now. Yeah, CCL, that one was a good one as well. We talked about it with Chris this morning. Take a look at that, folks. 6.6% was at 27.14 today. And again, the fact that Carnival Cruise Lines, which is highly contingent on the consumer, because they need to go on cruises, for the market to have, for first of all, for them to have one of their best earnings ever, record high revenues, and for the market to reward them, basically means the market saying, we think the economy is good. Now, what happened this morning? To do a little recap for those that missed the market open, we had PCE data that came in way better than expected. It came in cold. So on the monthly and the yearly, it was a beat, which was very good. That set up the ability for the market to rally. If that didn't happen, we might be looking at a little bit of a different Friday, but it should happen because inflation is coming down. It's kind of being sticky in certain areas, shelter, automotive, etc., and that's reflected in CPI, PPI. But this is the thing the Fed cares about, PCE, and this is going down. And that's probably another reason why the Fed cut as well. And on top of that, we had the Michigan Consumer Sentiment Survey, and that one beat expectations, essentially saying that consumers are hopeful for the economy. They have they trust that inflation is coming down, and they are willing to spend. It's sort of a general gauge of how the consumer is feeling about the economy. One of the more respected surveys as well from the market. That came in good. PCE came in cold, and that's why you got people getting ready to buy this dip, and that's what we're having right now. Okay, I see a lot of you guys saying you buy the dip. Here is another question then for those that did buy the dip. We got SoundHound, Google, Grab, Hood, Palantir, kind of a lot of these names. Also AMD. I mean, I don't know if it's put in a bottom, but it's definitely trying to find a bottom. Here's the next question. We got 8 minutes until the market closes. Anyone think this is a bull trap? AMD right there, 119. Anyone think this is a bull trap and buying this dip will not go well next week? I don't think that's the case, bro. I know we talked about it ad nauseum in the market open, but just to kind of reiterate a little bit, I see a lot of no's right here. Yeah, I mean, look, the data is on the side of it not being a bull trap. The bottom line is that this week's sell-off was based on a Jerome Powell press conference that the market was confused on how to interpret. We talked about all the catch-22 elements to that press conference. The economy was doing too good. The Fed said to not get too aggressive with cutting in 2025, not to actually stop cutting. And based on the movements I saw, high-frequency trading algorithms came in to shake out weak hands. The entire move this week to me was based on the market looking for any reason to pull back because obviously we were a bit extended. It wasn't an August 5th, and there's probably still going to be some volatility, but almost everyone is waking up right now around how ridiculous it was to sell off stocks off a Fed press conference when we all saw the amazing Q3 numbers that these companies put up last quarter. There was no structural problem in the economy, and if there was, I think we would have a much more nastier pullback. This was more of just, hey, it's extended. Let's breathe a little bit. It's actually a really good setup into a Santa Claus rally because it's not all-time highs. It's coming up from about 3-4% down. And really, this week was a game of controlling your emotions and just seeing if there was anything reasonable for why you would take profits. And if there wasn't, then it was a little bit more of a buy the dip opportunity. Basically, Tom Lee was right. All right, Tesla's tanking right now, you guys are saying. By the way, the government shutdown news, we don't have an update on that, but we will probably around 6 or 7 p.m. So we will get to know a little bit later. Tesla getting sold off right here. Tesla's the independent one getting sold off. Everything else is not selling off. Robinhood's not selling off. Palantir is actually rallying into the last 5 minutes. Tesla alone is selling off. I don't really count Tesla selling off as selling off because, again, like we got to 400 so quickly, and then we almost got to 500 a couple of days ago, even quicker, right? So this is, to me, Tesla just like neutralizing itself at these levels. And I think a consolidation from 415 to 430, even 400 to 430 is very reasonable. Like that is not a big deal. So, I mean, the Tesla sell-off independent of the rest of the market kind of makes sense because Tesla ran up way harder than the rest of the market. But outside of that, I mean, you've got everything pretty much green as we get into the close. Nike and FedEx. FedEx, I didn't expect to go red, but I'm looking at it right now for the first time in a while. FedEx is red. Oh, we got 80? Hold on. When did that happen? Holy crap. Oh my gosh. 5 minutes left, folks. We have hit 80. Whoa. Dude, I got to screenshot that. Was the bell still, was it a Temu bell on that one? Holy crap, bro. What, dude, we were at 79.35 for 2 seconds. I look away to Tesla and then boom, we got 80. See, all of you guys who didn't like the bell, now there's that saying in life, right? You don't know what you have till it's gone. Now, all of you guys that were annoyed by it, you're like, you know what? I actually kind of like the bell. I like the bell. For those that are wondering why, it's my microphone's being really weird. I'm going to get it fixed up over Christmas break. We'll make sure we're good going into the new year. Hopefully going into next week. I'm going to try to fix it over the weekend. But there you go, folks. 80. Can we get that? Wow. So we just ate 220,000 shares that were sitting at 80. Look at that movement, dude. It went from 80.30 back down to 79.95, now back above 80. This is the first time we hit 80, by the way, in the actual trading day. Because last time we hit it was in the pre-markets, and as soon as the market opened, I think that was 2 weeks ago, it fell immediately. I'm tweeting this out right now. Dude, I got to show you guys what's going on Twitter. The Palantir bears are a little upset. They're going to be a little bit more upset around 80. Okay, I just tweeted it. It's been pretty funny. Oh, by the way, I also got the $80 UBS price target. I got the $80 UBS price target. Arnie sent me the report. Shout out to Arnie. And so we're going to read it live after the open. So this is what's been going on Twitter all day. There's this dude, bro. I don't even like giving him attention, but there's this dude called Dividend Dude, and he's been just yapping about Palantir being expensive. And so Arnie quote tweeted him, and he said, "Oh, this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous." And if you look at the quotes right here, everyone's basically, how do I get to the quotes? View quotes right here. Yeah, everyone is just tweeting, "This is ridiculous," on top of Arnie saying, "This is ridiculous." It's like becoming a meme at this point. Everyone's just like, "Oh, yeah, this is ridiculous. I guess this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous." Everyone's doing "This is ridiculous." It might be ridiculous, but it's our ridiculous. It is our ridiculous. That's the difference that the bears can't understand. It could be ridiculous, but it's ridiculous to us. $80.35, up 8.25% of the day. Well, another reason that makes it actually not that ridiculous, quite frankly, we got QQQ inclusion coming up on Monday. This could be a little bit of front running before the institutions have to buy, or this could be some of the institutions buying right now. To my understanding, the ETF inflows come in on Monday, but maybe they could be coming in a little earlier, or maybe there could just be some front running happening right now. So it could be a bunch of things happening, but we are definitely getting a nice little reversal from the bottom. Susan says, "I'll take ridiculous all day long." I will as well. It has been a ridiculous journey in the most amazing of ways, to use the word ridiculous. It has absolutely been one of the most amazing journeys ever. Now, $80 is awesome. We got 2 minutes left, folks. I think we're going to close above 80. I think we are going to close above 80 right here. And I think it's going to happen. It's a full meme now. Yeah, every time we hit a new price target, we're just going to say it's ridiculous. And Dividend Dude is going to... Dude, this guy, again, I don't like giving him attention, but like, he's a nice guy on Twitter. He's a nice person. It's just every day he's complaining about Palantir, overvalued Palantir. And it's obviously just like using it for attention. And so today, Arnie was just like, you know what? I'm just going to agree with you. It is ridiculous. And then everyone ended up agreeing. And now we got a little bit of a meme right here. $80.55. We got 40 seconds. What a close for Palantir. Rest of the market kind of holding up as well. Tesla's the only one that's selling off into the close. Robinhood at 38.37 as well. 30 seconds left, and we are going to get our first $80 close in the history of Palantir being a public company. We got 15 seconds left. Here we go. We do have some Robinhood news. Yes, no stress. I see your comment in the chat. We'll talk about that in a second. Here we go. 10 seconds left. I think it's going to happen. I think it's going to be above 80. No one has to mute their ears because we got the Temu bell, but it's going to happen. There you go, folks. Friday, December 20th, 4 p.m. The stock market is now closed, and Palantir, for the first time in history, has closed above $80. Wow. There it is. There it freaking is. 213 million in volume. Okay, guys. Yeah, I kind of think this is the ETFs buying. 213 million volume is kind of insane. Like I would imagine 213 million shares of volume is a bit up there. And now it's 215 million after hours. 2 million shares already got in there. Yeah, guys, I think this is the ETFs. even though Monday is the official day, this might be some of the ETFs coming in a day before. I could be wrong. I don't know exactly how the process works, but 200, dude, our average volume per day is like 40 million, if that, maybe 50 million. Or we don't hit 200 million easily. Like 200 million is up there in terms of volume. That's kind of screaming to me that institutions are coming in and they're buying up in bulk. I could be wrong, but I think that's happening. There you go. $80.55. We'll get back to Palantir in just a second. Robinhood, 38.33. That's up 3.76%. Carnival Cruise up 6.4%. AMD was up about 28 bips. Tesla ended up selling off towards the end of the day, but still it's up from 410 from the pre-markets, down about 3.46%. Some big whale dumped a ton of Tesla at 355. I mean, someone dumped a ton of Tesla, and that's why you got Tesla selling off. Rocket Lab was up 7% on the day, even though they didn't have their rocket launch today. That's been delayed. Netflix was up about 1%. Enovix was up 21%. Affirm was up 5%. SoFi, 1535, up 2.13% on the day. Grab was slightly red, hit 497 at one point, ended the day at 490. MSTR, 300 to 364. Not a bad intraday move, 11.56% on MSTR. FedEx somehow went red. I have no idea how, but FedEx, it was up 10%. Ended up selling off towards the end of the day. Nike was red by about 0.18. NVIDIA was green, up 3%. Not bad. IWM, small caps were up 1%. The Qs were up 0.87%. S&P, 590. So a little bit of a sell-off from the top. It was at 595. Now it's at 590.83, but still overall a strong day for the broader market. Palantir, $80.15 right now after hours. Still holding 80. Still holding 80 on Palantir. Everyone's saying this is ridiculous. Oh my gosh. It is ridiculous, but it is beautifully ridiculous. Look, valuation is still expensive, and there's no disagreement for me on that as well. But again, I mean, we've talked about it over and over and over again. If people aren't selling and more people want to buy and be part of the story, then valuations can get ridiculous, and it is what it is. It's like it's not even that complicated. I don't think this is. Did retail buy 213 million shares today? No, or 200 have even contribute to, I don't know, 20 or 40% of that volume? I don't think so. If we barely do 40 million shares a day, 50 million shares a day, and we're doing 4x that, yeah, the retail is part of it. But I think a large part of it is also from other buyers that are stepping in. 218 million shares now after hours, 220 million. So we went from 213 to 220 in the span of basically 2 minutes, 221. We're getting almost 1 million shares every minute in volume. 222. I mean, like, yeah, this doesn't feel like retail to me. Retail's not throwing out 1 million shares at 4 p.m. on a Friday on Palantir. That's not happening. That's not happening. That to me seems institutional. I could be wrong, but it definitely seems institutional. Troy says admit institutions are probably buying Palantir today because they're off the rest of this year. Yeah, that's a great point as well. A lot of these guys are going out on vacation, spending time with their families. They might just be putting in their buy orders and calling it a year. And that's it. We got Chad right here saying this is ridiculous. Chad was contributing to this is ridiculous meme that we've had going on. I love the community so much. Like we found the guy who's just been complaining how ridiculous it is. And we're like, you know what? You're right. It is ridiculous. And we are going to embrace how ridiculous it is. This is awesome, bro. This is absolutely incredible. $80.55. Now we have 4 hours until after hours. So we're going to see how it ends up closing. But I mean, even a close above 79 would be incredible, 79.50, but it's holding after hours. I mean, it's still above 80. It hasn't gone below 80 yet, I think for like a second, but we are still holding above that $80 range. Arnie, we got Arnie in the chat. This is ridiculous. Arnie, I love you, brother. Thank you for being here, man. This is so cool to see this happening. $80 on Palantir on the close. We got it. Now we need Carp to say this is ridiculous. We need Carp to just slide that in there one day. He's like, yeah, it's ridiculous. Just everything's ridiculous. And we got to send that to this guy. This is cool, bro. This is really cool. I didn't expect it towards the end of the day, man. Like throughout the day, I've been tracking Palantir. It was up a nice 4 or 5%. We were hovering around 74, 75. But I don't think anyone really saw the move to 80. We got close at 79 at 11 a.m. and then the pressure died off and then I ended the stream. And then for the next 3 hours, really nothing. Literally the last 5 minutes is where Palantir decided to make a nice little run. And you'd had a ton of call options expiring for Palantir, 41,000 at $80. Let me see what price those closed at. So options today, $80 call options. Depends on when you bought them, if you made any money. They closed at 60 cents. You could have bought them really any time of the day for about 20 cents. Now, if you bought them a week ago at $1.89, you lost money, but you got a 3 extra money today on those $80 call options that expired today. Wow, 100,000 of those were traded. Take a look at this. Look at the volume. 100,488 of those call options were traded today. I mean, that has to do with quad witching, but it also has to do with a lot of people trying to bet on if $80 could happen here today. It's beautifully ridiculous. It is beautifully, beautifully ridiculous. Chad says he's on it. I love it. I love it. Okay, so I do have some other stuff to talk about Palantir real quick. Rest of the markets, again, we kind of talked about it. Everything's relatively green. S&P, NVIDIA, QQQ, all of these guys end green. Robinhood as well, 38.36. Palantir down about 0.5% after hours at $80.09, but we violently ran into that $80 range really at like 3:58 p.m. and we are still holding it currently right now after hours. Okay, so let's look at this when it comes to Palantir. So one quick announcement: we are not going to be having Palantir weekly tonight because Coachstrap said he's not going to be able to make it. Coachstrap has some family duties that he has to attend to, so we're going to do that next week. We're not going to have a Palantir weekly episode. People are not only tired, but if to do a yearly review, you want to have the whole gang on the show. So we're probably going to do it next week, or either, if not on a Friday, maybe a different day next week based on the whole Christmas, New Year's Eve stuff. So we'll figure it out, but likely next week we will be doing that weekly year-end review, and hopefully we'll have Coachstrap as well on the show. Sam, I see you in the background. Give me 5 minutes, Sam. I just want to pull this up and show everybody this because I got this by Arnie, and then we'll have Sam on the show, and we will get his thoughts on the market along with Nubank because he is getting pretty bullish about the name. All right, so Arnie just sent me this. Let's spend 5 minutes and look at this right here, and then we'll move on from this for today. UBS, big bank, global research firm. This is not a small firm globally that covers equities. They have initiated coverage on Palantir, and their price target is $80 in 12 months. They got it like 12 seconds after they published this yesterday, but that just tends to happen sometimes with these price targets. Here we go. Let's read a little bit through this, and then we'll go from there. We're launching coverage of Palantir shares with a neutral rating and an $80 price target, 2025, 2026 estimates that are well above the street consensus. So the first sentence of this equity report is, hey, we think Palantir is going to grow. And everyone else thinks they're not going to grow. Everyone else is wrong. We think they're going to grow. So that's the first thing that UBS is saying right here. We root our views in conversations with 17 large Palantir customers and other checks and offer their unvarnished feedback in this report, which focuses more than we normally would on the core. What exactly does Palantir do? Wow. This is a new report. I have not read a report like this in a while. So they went in depth, kind of pulled the Dan Ives strategy and actually talk to the people using the product more so than looking at the spreadsheets, which again is not a bad thing to do. But with a company like Palantir, with a unique culture like Palantir, it is important to figure out why are people actually buying their software. And it looks like that's how they came to their conclusions. The main thing keeping us on the sidelines is valuation. That is very fair, which at 49x revenues and 124x free cash flow in 2025 estimates was simply too tough to get over. So basically they're saying, hey, we think there's an $80 price target on the stock. They're essentially implying, because they didn't put a buy, they put a neutral, that they think it's going to go down from 80 and then you'll be able to buy at whatever price they think it's going to get to. But they wouldn't say buy it right now because they expect it to get to 80, which means they expect it to be lower than 80 before it gets to 80, even though it's at 80 right now. So valuation is the thing keeping them on the sidelines. That's fair. But it looks like fundamentally they believe that there is something exciting about Palantir. The other thing that's really interesting about this, guys, you've got a lot of Palantir bears and shorts basically saying that the market cap, which is right now $184 billion on Palantir, that's closing in on $200 billion. A lot of people are saying that valuation is ridiculous, and it is egregious, and you can't justify it. UBS is saying actually you can give them another year of growth, and $80 will be reasonable. So let's get into kind of how they're conceptualizing this and what they're saying from there. Impressed with the fundamentals. Our review of Palantir's fundamentals left us very positive. Customers and other checks were almost all bullish on Palantir's model and the value they were getting from Foundry and AIP in particular, with some pushback on premium pricing and lock-in. Unlocking the value of private data sets is key to realizing AI as well as traditional optimization benefits, and Palantir is very well positioned here. The AIP on Foundry platform enables the DIY AI trend, which in our judgment is likely to persist, and Palantir can see further growth upside if as it helps customers find additional high-value use cases for AIP on Foundry outside of its power alley of supply chain optimization use cases, basically saying you can upsell customers on more and more use cases with the software. We're launching with our 2025-2026 revenue growth estimates of 28 to 25%. So they don't even think we're going to get 30% next year. They think we're going to get 28%, but they still think $80 is justified, even if that goes down to 25% in 2026, which is above street consensus. Now imagine UBS is saying, hey, it's worth $80 with a 28% CAGR. Imagine if they CAGR at 40%. Imagine if they go to 35%. Imagine if they get to 50%. I know it's going to be hard to get there. Not saying it's easy, but if Palantir can get those growth levels up there, I think it's going to be pretty exciting. Valuation is hard to overcome. While we certainly understand that valuation isn't straightforward for stocks that are well positioned into large tech paradigm shifts that are accelerating and for which an improving narrative can make the revenues and free cash flow multiples less important, in our view, Palantir deserves a material multiple premium to most or all other public software firms. Wow. Huh. Basically saying, yeah, Snowflake doesn't deserve that multiple. That said, 49x revenues and 125 free cash flow in 2025 mess-wits was simply too high of a hurdle to get over, and that's fair. Let's see right here. Okay, let's read a little bit from here. How Palantir describes its models. We've heard many industry observers and analysts describe Palantir as a black box. We get it. It wasn't an easy business model and architecture for us to figure out either. I agree. I spent 2 years and 3,000 videos trying to figure this out. But in our judgment, the term black box is used largely because Palantir is A, unique. There is no obvious peer that investors and analysts can extrapolate from. And B, Palantir does a lot of things and doesn't fit neatly into a defined software category. It is a data integration firm, a data science firm, an AI application firm, a defense contractor, and a BCG-like consulting firm. But in our view, it is not a black box in the sense that its model and architecture are a mystery, such that investors are flying blind. If Palantir was indeed a black box, we doubt that its top 20 customers would be spending on average $60 million annually on the company's products and services. They presumably know exactly what they're getting. So to sharpen our own still developing understanding of Palantir's model, we took a shortcut of sorts and simply asked the customers how they use Palantir and what they think of the output. We offer the unvarnished feedback of these customers, many of Palantir's largest, below in this report. Not bad. Not bad at all. All right, so I can't spend the time reading the entire report. In fact, that's probably going to take 30 minutes. So I'm going to make a video either over the weekend, probably tomorrow, maybe on Sunday, and we're going to go through this entire report. It is a very long report. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff to get through. I think I got the gist of it out just now in these last 5 minutes. It's not a black box. The valuation's up there, but they still think they're going to beat consensus growth estimates, and they believe $80 is justified, even with 25 or 28% growth next year. If Palantir does 35 or 40% growth, that can potentially offer even more upside. And the big thing about this is that they have talked to customers, and it looks like based on talking to all these customers, they really believe that there's a massive opportunity to grow, but there's also a massive level of importance that they're putting to the qualitative feedback from these customers outside of just the quantitative metrics that they're looking at for Palantir, which I think is the right way to analyze a special company that's differentiated like Palantir. You got to talk to people about why they're using that software in the first place. Okay, if anyone wants this report, I got to figure out a way to send this report. I can't send out 1 trillion emails because that's going to be a little too much. Let me figure it out. I'm probably just going to set up like a Dropbox link or something and make it public, and I'll put it in the chat, and you guys can like download that. So we'll bring Sam on the show. I'll do that in the background. I'll send that link in the chat. You guys will be able to download it from there. That should be pretty easy. And then we'll keep going from there. But I will make a video on that Palantir report. $80, absolutely incredible. This seems like one of the better equity reports we've seen on Palantir. $79.92 after hours, but we hit 85 or $80.55 and closed up about 8.54% on the day. Sam, what's up, man?
What's going on? How are you, man?
I'm good. How was Europe?
Congratulations. Europe was great. Europe was great. For those people that don't know, I went to Germany and Poland. Was gone for a couple of weeks. I was live on your show, and then I was like just gone for 2 weeks, and then now I'm back.
You still own Palantir, right?
No, I don't.
Okay, I was gonna say congratulations to you too, brother.
I mean, even if I did, it wasn't a lot. So right. Is what it is. But to be honest, like I don't know why it keeps going up, and I don't want to short that shit. So I'm just gonna leave it alone.
Okay, real quick, here's what I'm gonna do for the report, guys. I use this platform for debate, so it'll be really easy. Here's the link right here. Everyone go to this website, speechdrop.net. That is the website. And then this is the code you need to enter in. Speechdrop.net. Speechdrop.net. This is the code. I'm going to put it in the chat, and you can download the report immediately from this code. Let me know if it doesn't work. It should work, but everyone should be able to access. Don't tell the feds, because I could get in trouble for this. So don't tell
I think
anyone.
it'd be like a client of the bank or something, like one of the private clients in order to receive those reports, be subscribed to the services. I've always wondered how to get those, actually. Sometimes you see them, sometimes you don't.
Yeah, so don't tell anyone. Don't tell anyone. Just keep it with yourself and don't post it anywhere. So there you go. That's the code, speechdrop.net. All right, Sam. We got a lot of stuff to talk about, a lot of stocks, new bank. But first of all, your reaction to this 3-day level of volatility and the reversal we saw today.
So, I mean, to be honest, before the Fed came on, I wasn't so bullish the market. I've said on Twitter a couple of times that I'm like trimming, things that have ran a lot, things that are extended, short-term plays and so on. And it's not like I'm trying to time it or anything, but it's just, there was a lot of euphoria in the market. You were seeing some names continuing to run for probably companies that people don't even know too much about. And as far as the RSI goes, it's very extended from a technical perspective. And I thought the market was, or the bond market was pricing in longer for higher or less cuts for 2025. The dollar was at yearly highs around 107 at the time. And this was before the meeting last Wednesday. And, I took that opportunity to continue to build the cash position, which I have been for the last couple of months. And then everything pretty much just fell on Wednesday. I didn't buy any dips.
Well, what was your reaction emotionally when it fell? How did you think of it? Were you scared at all, or?
No, not really. It was kind of expected. And to be honest, like we were still green for the month, so it wasn't really a big deal on Wednesday. But then, it became a lot bigger. And then yesterday didn't really see a bounce, saw it getting faded. I think I bought like some shares of some software stock, but I didn't really buy it too heavy or anything. And then this morning, when I saw the PCE come out, I mean, those numbers look good. They look like it was the opposite narrative. And the PCE is what the Fed looks at, right? They don't really look at CPI. They don't really look at PPI. Like what Roy is saying, it was definitely overdue. And then the PC numbers come out this morning and it was actually cool numbers. So why was the market down? I don't know. But the RSI for SPY was at like 20 something, which hasn't been for a while. I don't like
we got to extreme fear, right?
Yeah, it was. I mean, I don't like to focus on that CNN because that's more of a technical indicator, not so much of a survey. Like they got many other surveys. Like they got the AAI sentiment survey, which I look at every single week. They got the NAIM index, which is basically how long hedge funds or people who join the survey are long, and that dropped like 20%. People were a lot less bullish. People were more uncertain on the AAI sentiment survey. Of course, you see this, but what I look more in this is the put call ratio that came to like pretty much a pretty high amount of puts versus calls yesterday.
So essentially, you felt this pullback was overdue. We needed a little bit of a breather. And
because people just got used to the market going up every day, and people forget like the market can go down just as many days as it goes up, but people forgot about that. And then you had every single seasonality effect didn't happen. You had bearish months like October was a bearish month. September was a bearish month. August, everyone thought that was going to be a bad month. It was not a bad month. October was pretty much a flat month. And then we just needed it. And I always thought, I wonder what it'll be like if the market was red for the most bullish month of the entire year.
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll see.
No, that's and that's another signal to kind of think why we likely weren't going to stay red.
But that was mostly sentiment. But I mean, honestly, the biggest thing for me was that if the CFTC futures positioning on the NASDAQ or NQ futures, it was like max bullish.
Yeah.
The most amount of people has been bullish in a long time. So it was going to happen at some point. You just needed a catalyst.
Yep. No, I agree. And so, no, I think a lot of that makes sense. You needed a catalyst. You probably needed a little bit of a pullback as well. 2 versus 3 cuts. I don't know if that was the best reason for a pullback, but we got it. And we got a reversal from that pre-market low that we made this morning. I want to talk about Nubank to get started. A lot of people in my community have been asking about this stock. It has been sold off pretty aggressively. By the way, guys, Sam on Twitter, this is his Twitter. Please make sure to follow him there to get more updates on his DD. You've been building position. You're bullish. 2 questions to start off. Why has Nubank been taking a hit? And then second of all, what's your thesis on the company?
Well, I've been long Nubank since it was around $7, actually. took a little bit off the top when it was in the 14s or 15s. And of course, saw it continue to go and was like regretting it a little bit, but whatever. Yeah, held out. I did add a considerable amount to my position on August 5th when it dropped down to where we are today. And the company is just firing on all cylinders. Like, they're doing amazing. They're doing a lot of good acquisitions, expanding globally, and there's the net interest margin has just been increasing. Well, not increasing. Sorry, the net interest income has been increasing every single quarter. The net interest margin kind of took a little bit of a hit last quarter. But there's two things. One, Nubank was near its all-time high, around 16 plus prior to the earnings. And then when the earnings came out, they had a few things last quarter that was probably kind of signaling maybe a yellow light for the market in terms of their growth and expansion, which I don't necessarily disagree with. Because for one thing, a lot of what the analysts were really looking at was the fact that it had its sequential decline of net interest margin from 19.8% to 18.4%. And the reason why that's important is because the net interest income is basically how much the bank makes from its spread between the rates it gives out for its deposits. I'm sorry, for its loans and credit portfolio versus its deposits. And that margin ticked down by about a point, 140 basis points last quarter. The 90-day plus non-performing loans for Brazil ticked up again, and it has been ticking up for a while, and it's always been analyst concerns about that one. It was like, actually, this was their second sequential quarter decrease when it comes to their average revenue per acquired customer. That dropped down another 20 cents. Overall, I think the story is that you have a very fast growing digital bank in very fast growing regions, and people believe the growth is starting to slow down. So they start to sell off a little bit, but then, inflation has been a bit sticky for Brazil. And they've been battling inflation for years, but it has ticked up and re-accelerated from the decelerating path it's been taking. So the Central Bank of Brazil actually had to hike up their rates to 14.25%. Now, that's a lot. But, when you're dealing with rampant inflation like they are in Latin America for a very hot, fast-growing nation, you got to kind of keep rates that high. There's probably a little bit more than that than I actually know when it comes to monetary policy in Brazil. But then on top of that, the government was really spending a lot of money, kind of like what we were dealing with in late 2023 and early 2024. And, remember earlier in the year, inflation was kind of coming back a little bit. The market was getting scared. The government was spending a lot, blah, blah, blah. And what had happened recently was that the Brazilian currency has been dropping like a rock for the last few months. So you have the fundamentals of the company starting to look a little bit weak, and then you have the macro taking much bigger effect. That's going to basically pull everything in Brazil down, and that's what you really saw with Nubank and Mercado Libre.
So is Nubank cheap?
I would say they're actually pretty cheap right now. So they're trading right now in 2025 forward PE. They're trading at about 18 times. On a historical basis, their forward PE is somewhere around 27 times. So you have about a 50% upside here in terms of getting to the average TTM or average trailing price to earnings, which would be about 27. So about 210.4 it is today. So maybe it's going to go back to all-time highs or something a year from now. I would say that is my base price target. My bullish thesis, I think it can get to around 20 by the end of next year. And that's only because, two things have to happen. One, they need to continue to re-accelerate their RPAC. They need to re-increase that RPAC, because the reason why I decreased last quarter was because the large expansion they've been doing in Colombia and Mexico, which is their fastest growing regions they have. Brazil is, of course, most of their revenue, but a lot of revenue is really showing up in those other two countries. If that comes back, then that's going to bring investors back. If their net interest margin ticks up a little bit, which is going to actually be good, meaning that they make more interest versus the revenue. The problem is the revenue is increasing so fast, so it's very hard for them to keep up with that. But overall, a lot of the RPAC, or the average revenue per acquired customer, that actually is calculated based on the average a month per user. And they've acquired a lot of people from Colombia and Mexico in the last couple of quarters. So it's understandable why this is going to tick down. And then also the net interest income that ticked down a little bit as far as its growth goes because of their quick expansion happening. So I think that what's going on in Brazil might be a little bit of a scare. I don't think Brazil is heading toward a manufactured recession. But of course, when macro is in its scariest point, that's the best time to buy. Nubank on a technical basis, dude, it's trading below all of its moving averages. Trading pretty cheaply. Its daily RSI is at 25, its weekly RSI is at 36, its monthly RSI is at 49. It's been flying high for a while, so you kind of needed this pullback. We are kind of basing out around here, but honestly, man, this is probably one of the best deals in the market that I can see for myself. Of course, there is risk with this versus Mercado Libre. Mercado Libre is more established, is more diverse. They make money from other segments and revenues. Nubank is really just loaning out in the credit portfolio. They did tighten a bit on their credit portfolio recently because their customers actually improved their credit situation. So if people's credit is actually better, they're not going to charge that much for its interest rate. So, overall, I think it just takes time for something like this to play out. But
if anyone has any questions in the chat for Nubank, you can put them now. But what is the difference between this and SoFi to you?
Well, SoFi is mostly in the US. It's a very competitive area to grow.
Let me rephrase. Why are you buying Nubank over SoFi?
Well, it really depends on your risk level, right? So I think SoFi has a large trajectory ahead of it, but it is a US bank. So it's very competitive. Nubank is in regions that people have never had a bank, like Mexico. Almost everyone there just was never banked, right? So Nubank is coming in and they're penetrating probably 10, 20, 30, 40% of the market. But there's a lot more to go because Mexico is growing pretty quickly in terms of population size. And then you have Colombia as well. So it's Nubank is more of an international emerging market play. I would say SoFi is more of a US growth play. And also the fact that the credit portfolio of a lot of Americans is actually going to be getting better versus worse as interest rates come down. So there is that leverage that SoFi can have. I honestly think that if I had to be in the US and bet in a digital bank, it would be SoFi. But I'm looking for that alpha in emerging markets right now, because I do think there might be a little bit of an outperformance for emerging markets versus US markets, because the past 10 years, US markets have been outperforming all of them. So I think, just a little bit of money flows coming into emerging markets, it might happen. There you go, man. Mopar for life. What is a bank? No one knows out there.
This question right here, I think, is more based on SoFi. It's less about SoFi.
I don't think SoFi is going to do that. At least not yet. And if they do, it's not going to be emerging markets probably, because there's a lot of risk there. And you got to deal with getting all the licenses and all that stuff. It's like, does SoFi really want to do that right now? Probably not.
Another question on Nubank is, how do you feel about their management? Can you trust these guys?
Yeah, I could trust them. I mean, they've been doing very well. David Velez, he's been there since pretty much the beginning, founder led. That guy actually went to one of the Ivy League schools out here, and
Stanford, right?
Yeah, and it's actually pretty funny because I remember when I was talking to TJ a lot, and I was on his podcast a lot. His wife actually was friends with David Velez.
I know he doesn't like him.
Yeah, he doesn't like him. So it kind of deterred me. I'm not gonna lie, but I didn't really know much about Nubank then, and there's a much different mindset back then. But I decided to switch from SoFi to Nubank at that time, and obviously today, SoFi's outperformed Nubank, but for quite some time it was really Nubank. But I want to really compare the two because they're not directly competing with each other. In fact, I would even say they're not really competing with each other because they're in different regions.
What about Buffett? He still owns this, right?
Yeah, he still owns Nubank. I mean, that guy's buying more Occidental. So I can't really judge a guy because he's the GOAT. So I see a lot of people on Twitter, they're really judging him for selling Apple and buying Oxy. But I mean, I'm pretty sure the guy knows what he's doing, right? He knows what he's doing.
People are getting too cocky, bro. People are getting too cocky.
No, they really are. They're getting too cocky about thinking they're better than Buffett and stuff. It's like, no, that guy's the GOAT. You can't touch him.
Yeah, it's like he definitely, you could argue, trimmed Apple quickly because he's not reallocating the capital anywhere else. And I don't know if Apple's going back to 170. But I mean, he's managing a lot of money, and he's probably going to put that money somewhere else.
Also, he runs multiple insurance companies. I mean, for the most part, they are an insurance company. So insurance companies have to hedge by having a lot of cash in the balance sheet to minimize the risk.
Correct.
So, I mean, you can't not like, why do you think he has a big cash position? That's probably one of the reasons why. I don't think he's getting ready for a monster crash. I think, well, he has one where he doesn't like to buy anything that's not in sale. If he doesn't see a sale, he doesn't buy anything. But also, yeah, he's an insurance company. So he has to have that money there, and he's earning so much interest on it. So, like, what's the point?
Okay, so let's talk about the next one in the emerging markets that you like, which is Amazon of Latin America, Mercado Libre. When did you start buying this, and what's your thesis?
I was buying this when it was down like the 1100s. I didn't buy fast enough. I wish I did because I was DCing at the time. So my average is like somewhere around 12 or 13. I forget. But there were points, especially after a few quarters ago when they dropped all the way down to 1300, I was selling puts on them. And man, those premiums are crazy, but they all were great. And I don't really like to do it publicly, but I do have an adjusted cost basis that I calculate against my actual cost basis. So my adjusted cost basis on this, based on the premiums that I've collected from selling those put credit spreads on it when it was down pretty low, I would say my average is probably below 1,000. But yeah, this is a pretty big position for me. I know a lot of people who've been buying this when it was below 1,000 in 2022. I also know some people who have owned this since like it was 300 or 400. There was like a lot of talk. Yeah, go ahead.
Year to date, it is massively underperformed the S&P. So what's the thesis that you're looking at here?
So it is the thesis is, I mean, they're also in digital banking as well. They're more on the credit card side and loan portfolio side. They do focus. I mean, they have a lot of, they have their hands in like over 8 Latin American countries. And one of them is Argentina. So they are impacted by Argentina. But Argentina is, I don't know if you've ever, you ever heard of, why do I keep forgetting the guy's first name? Javier Milei?
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah. Dude, that guy he has this podcast with Lex Friedman, and he is very, the word isn't intellectual, but he has studied American pioneers in finance for a long time. And there was the John something. There's the guy who wrote like what? Huh? No, not Rockefeller. There was a guy who wrote that book. It wasn't John Smith. I forget the guy's name, but he wrote that book in like the early 1800s or late 1700s. Like he really studied American capitalism.
Napoleon Hill? Napoleon Hill?
No. But he really studied American capitalism from the beginning, and I think he's playing by that playbook. I mean, you already see he's like chilling with Elon Musk, Trump, and everything. Like just that publicity already gives him that edge, and he has taken the massive debt to GDP that Argentina has had, and he's basically made them flat. Like, and he is increasing the GDP while at the same time cutting a lot of costs. Like, I don't know, man. The guy he's doing great out there, and just that sentiment's going to really spread around Latin America, in my opinion. I think there's a lot of potential. Nubank's not in Argentina, and when they were asked about going to Argentina, like they were thinking about it, but I don't think that's necessarily on the table. I think Nubank is more looking at expanding globally than anything, specifically in South Africa and also the Philippines as well. They did acquire a large stake in a company called Time Group, which has banks in both of those countries, and they are growing very quickly. So I could potentially see Nubank actually expand out of Latin America at some point.
Mercado Libre is in Argentina and other countries, correct?
Yeah, they're in pretty much almost every single country in Latin America. They're pretty well built. I would say between Nubank and Mercado Libre is definitely less risk than Nubank because their credit portfolio is actually half of their company, but it is the fastest growing part. But they basically are Amazon where they were in 2015, 2016 when Amazon spent so much money building the entire logistics.
Okay, so let me ask that. The reason Amazon became Amazon is because of a juicy cloud computing AWS.
Yes, margins. Of course.
Mercado Libre is buying low, selling high. Those margins aren't the best. So where is their AWS coming from, if there is one?
Well, the thing is that Mercado Libre, they have a wide moat in Latin America. I mean, some people like they can buy from elsewhere, but Mercado Libre has they can ship things very quickly out there. And for a competitor to come into come into Latin America and be able to compete against them, very difficult because they'd have to build that infrastructure. It's like somebody coming into it's like somebody coming to the US or somebody trying to go to the US trying to take Amazon's market share in terms of their e-commerce. It's very hard to do. Amazon already built out the logistics. They can eat into their margins and still destroy the competition. Mercado Libre also, on top of their e-commerce, they also have a streaming platform as well. So they have the advertising as well. They have third-party sellers. They also have their first party as well.
So all of that is describing Amazon in Latin America. My question is, Amazon has really shitty margins. So why buy the Amazon of Latin America if they're not going to be as
well? They also have Mercado Pago. Mercado Pago is basically their it's their loaning business. Yeah, it's their fintech. They have loans. They're basically running a bank, but it's mostly focused on the credit portfolio. And they're in less risky. They're in less risky regions. In fact, their non-performing loans has actually gotten better since last quarter, mostly because they're not in like very risky regions like Mexico. They are in Colombia, but like they're not as much. Like they're mostly centralized in Brazil. They're in Argentina. They're in a lot of other countries as well. But their presence in the entire continent is massive. That it doesn't really take a lot for them to be able to advertise to their existing customers and cross-sell products to be able to make more money off of them and keep them within the ecosystem. So yeah, they might not have.
Do you think financial services will grow to be a significant part of their business?
Yeah, it will. It's growing way faster than the e-commerce segment.
Okay, so then what about Amazon competition? Do you think they are competitors in that region?
I don't know. Kind of too early to tell. I mean, Amazon does have that presence on a global scale, but Amazon would have to build out logistics. They'd have to allocate resources out there. You know, they have to find people out there to hire. They'd have to hire the drivers. They're probably going to outsource their delivery services to another company. I wouldn't be surprised if Amazon, maybe they partner with Mercado Libre in terms of delivery services. We'll see. I mean, they don't have to necessarily compete with each other directly by selling the exact same products for cheaper or whatever it is. But at the same time, like if you saw the interview with Jeff Bezos on CNBC with Andrew Sorkin.
Yeah,
I think that was his last name. I forget. But that dude is not focused. He still does work at Amazon, but he's focused more on Blue Origin and their other ventures that they have versus trying to expand Amazon to other emerging markets regions. But they already they actually are expanding more in Asia as well as Europe. Are they really expanding that much into Latin America? I don't know. Maybe I must have missed something, but for them to actually become a huge competitor, yeah, no, you're trying to see the risks, which is understandable. It's always good to see the risks on certain.
And I don't know if they are. I just asked you. You're probably still trying to figure out the due diligence around this as well. But I'm just trying to figure out what's the exciting thing about them, because I get the TAM in the region. I get that they're one of the only real players. I get the financial services is growing, but again, with Amazon, there was something there. AWS that got everyone in. Like, is there something more than just a bank and an e-commerce company?
Well, Latin America, you'd have to be bullish Latin America in order for all this to come back. You'd have to come in with the expectation or with the assumption that inflation will actually continue decelerating in Latin America and GDP will continue growing, because Latin America is one of the fastest growing regions in the entire world, along with Southeast Asia as well. If Latin America becomes a major power around the entire world, it's just going to bring Mercado Libre with it, because it already dominates most of Latin America. And if you think of like, what is it to Amazon? Well, Amazon, it's not like America was growing at 20% plus GDP annually when Amazon was growing. Like, that didn't happen. And also Amazon did go through these major recessions and major drawback periods. And, you know, when there was COVID, Latin America and Brazil got hit hard. Their stock market fell way more than ours did. And on top of that, the US dollar dominance is really playing a huge role in sucking liquidity out of the system for a lot of these other countries. If the US dollar pulls back to, I would say, like around the 104s, you could potentially see these emerging markets rally a lot, because that would mean that their currency actually gets stronger than the way it's been recently. And that would also mean that rates start to fall again. And that would also mean that it's going to be a very bullish sentiment for a lot of emerging markets when that happens, plus China too.
Yeah, no, that's fair. And again, those GDP growth rates are a bit higher. I mean, Dominican Republic, Argentina, all these are higher than the United States. So you definitely
this is just this year, but it's been growing pretty hot for a while. And that's the reason why inflation got pretty out of hand out there.
Do you think they're going to, our last question on this, do you think they're going to split their stock?
You know, I maybe not. I can't really tell. I mean, I know a few companies like Booking.com, like the CFO has talked publicly on there. We are never going to split our stock because we don't want to attract that kind of buyer. We want people who are in it for the long haul. So kind of like the Warren Buffett mindset with Berkshire. Yeah. Mercado Libre, I could see them potentially doing it only because they want to attract more investors. It'll definitely. Okay, so when you're talking about splitting, you're just talking about splitting on our exchange, which of course is where all the money is in the world. Yeah, I could see them splitting their stock. Not right now. It would be a terrible idea right now. But let's say things come back in Brazil. Mercado Libre is back in the 2200s, 2500s. They're firing at all cylinders, continuing to regrow and reaccelerate. I could see them doing maybe like a 10-1 split.
Yeah, I think it would just be easier to. I mean, when you were selling puts on this thing, dude, you had to have a lot of collateral.
Well, okay, I wasn't selling puts. I was selling put credit spreads, but
still,
they're pretty. The premium was pretty high, and I was selling them in the money when they were down. So my risk was a lot lower than the reward I was getting. So I would be selling like maybe $10 strike spreads on there, and it was in the money. So if it were to go up like 3%, I would go from selling maybe like $9 to gaining or buying it back at like $2.
Right.
And I would do these with a lot of them too. So it was pretty considerable how much premium I was getting from it. Given like if you sell like a $900 credit spread with a $10 difference in the strike prices, your max loss is $100, right?
Right.
So I think the problem you're dealing with is liquidity, but that's why you have to go like a week or two out. So then that way you get more volume, and it has to be somewhat close to the strike. So,
right. Got a couple more questions for you, Sam, but guys, we do have some breaking news. Mr. Jim Cramer says that Palantir is going to 100.
It's over. It's over.
I mean, this is like, it was such a good day. It was a great day, bro. Like it was a fun day. Like,
God damn.
Now, granted, Palantir has been withstanding Cramer for the past 8 months now, so I think we'll keep withstanding it. But it's there you go. I think we can withstand it.
That guy, he's like, oh, I don't want to say the word.
Why did he jump in at the Like, why? Just chill out.
He represents the retail crowd. That's just what he does, and he's trying to, he's a celebrity icon for CNBC. He's going to say what people want to hear because he just cares about the ratings. He's not managing money anymore. He doesn't care. So, he just wants the ratings.
Yeah. Okay. Grab is becoming exciting on my channel. I got to give you credit for introducing me, Chris, and the sort of Chris's Patreon community to it. I brought it to my community. I like the name. Really love the management, really love the leadership, really love the growth potential. It's been a couple of weeks since we talked about Grab, kind of oscillating that $4.90 to $5 range. What are your current updated thoughts on it, and are you buying it here?
No, I'm just holding. I mean, I haven't really made any changes to my position. Am I going to add? I'll probably add if it closes that gap from the earnings, so that I bring it down to like 4.4, so maybe like a 10% drop from here.
Yeah.
Excuse me, 10% drop from here. But really, if you look at China, you look at all the other emerging markets, you look at Latin America, all that, they've been dropping in light of the dollar rallying.
Right.
When the dollar pulls back, you will see these things come back. Until that happens, it might be continued downtrend. And I can't tell you when that's going to happen, but I will tell you that we're probably getting pretty close to the point where it might have a little bit of reversal, a little bit of pullback. People thought there was going to be a pullback when it's at 104. And I'm talking the US dollar. People thought it was going to pull back when it was at 104, and it pulled back to like 103, and then it just ripped up again. And you got to remember, when the dollar rises, all right, it's anticipation of the tariffs coming. And when you increase tariffs, that means that importers have to pay the US more money for those increased tariffs or taxes on their imports, which means that they need to sell more of their currency to buy US currency to pay for those tariffs. And the market will always try to front run that. So until we see any type of reprieve from that, I don't know when that's going to happen. But if Trump gives like an idea that he might not increase the tariffs that much, the dollar is going to come crumbling down. Rates are going to fall. The market might just go straight up after that.
Yeah, that could be a potential way this thing plays out as well. And I think just none of us know what the policy is going to look like in 2025. And that's why kind of the market's like, all right, we'll see if tariffs work or if they don't. And what's going to happen to the dollar from that.
Sure.
The fundamental thesis on Grab. So for people that haven't heard it articulated from you, you believe they are Southeast Asia's super app. Why do you think they're on the way to become a super app? And this question I got to sneak in there. Why isn't Tesla FSD going to ruin their ride hailing business? Because I get that question 1,000 times a day.
Well, I mean, yeah, I don't think the infrastructure is necessarily built out in these emerging markets in Southeast Asia, Singapore, Philippines, Thailand, Vietnam, all those places. The infrastructure is necessarily built out. It's much easier for Tesla to grow FSD and start robo-taxi in like China, where it's already built out or where most of it's already built out. He already has a lot of data around there. I think they partnered with Baidu, basically the Google of China, to be able to use that data and leverage it to run FSD. There isn't really that much data captured out there in these other regions. So it's
that's a big point. Yeah. There is no FSD if you haven't captured the data in the region. And so for everyone that's scared about Tesla with Grab, it's like, if they're not in Singapore, Malaysia, Thailand, I mean, there's nothing to be afraid of.
Yeah, and also, I mean, I don't know if you know how governments necessarily work in a lot of these regions. Is that they're pretty corrupt, right? So they want the officials, they want that money, and they're gonna full on take advantage of Elon if he tries to go out there. So there might not be that much leverage he has in order to play that out there. And on top of that, is there really gonna be a lot of people using it out there? Like, can you really picture a lot of robo taxis getting through those huge crowds in Manila, the Philippines, or in Singapore, or in Bangkok? I don't know. That's pretty tough to navigate, in my opinion, even without FSD. So I would say good luck. But on top of that, I don't. Yeah, he hasn't even done robo taxi here yet. So
yeah,
I don't know if that's gonna happen for a while.
I just want everyone to hear this from you, because you're the guy who's really started buying Grab early. So I make, because every day I'm like, well, FSD's. I'm like, God, FSD is not real yet. Like, it's not. Robo taxis aren't real. Right. It's there, but it's not real. And I just came back from India. There's going to be no FSD in India, and there's probably not going to be it in Vietnam.
No, like the streets are so crowded. The computer's not going to. It's going to be like, I can't move anywhere. There's Indians everywhere.
Yeah. Okay. The fintech financial services part of the business for Grab. Why are you excited about that?
So that one's a pretty good one. I mean, you have the super app, the fact they're putting everything on one app. So it's not just fintech where it comes to people banking with them and then taking out loads of stuff. It's also the insurance segment. They've partnered, I've said it before, they've partnered with Chubb, which is underwriting all the insurance that they're doing. And they have a lot more products they could probably offer. But I would say the risk level when it comes to the average citizen in Southeast Asia versus like Latin America, I think the risk is much lower because people tend to save a lot out there. You're really hitting countries that are growing at a pretty fast rate, considerably, even against the depreciation of their currency against the US dollar.
Yep.
But again, this is the same story when it comes to the US dollar and the emerging markets thesis. If you think that emerging markets are going to have a great next few years, then there's a pretty good chance that these companies that surround there, as well as their GDP and as well as the growth in these other companies, will do very well for the next few years. You have to believe that. Because right now, the concentration of capital in the U.S. is everyone's only investing in the U.S. So if that money just starts to dissipate outside of the U.S., you're going to see a lot of these other markets rise.
Do you like that $6 billion of the $20 billion market cap is cash?
I mean, that is what it is. I don't think that's going to really go down too much. I mean, the liquidity in the system is going to increase. So I don't know if that money is really going to change too much. I think what we need to look at is the use of margin and leverage in the market. Like you already got the email from Robinhood, right? So those rates went down on the margin. You don't have to be using margin in order to see that email. You're going to get the email regardless. So if you have more people starting to use margin, you're basically creating liquidity from thin air, right? And as rates continue to fall, which they're suspecting they're going to fall about 3 times next year, there's going to be more money added into the system just from thin air because of the fact that it's on margin, right? And already you already know Robinhood has a lot of deposits and everything, so like it's not like they need to. It's like the money. The money isn't technically coming out of nowhere. They are taking the risk for it, but like they have the deposits to cover that.
Well, and why do you think margin coming down is good for Grab?
No, margin increasing is good for markets all around. So you're asking me about the $6 billion in treasuries, right? Oh wait, I'm sorry.
I'm talking about
that's
Grab.
what you're asking. Okay, you're talking about no. Why is that?
I'm talking about Hood? No, I'm talking about Grab. No, Grab themselves has $6 billion in cash on $20 billion market cap. So my question to you is, you're basically bought 40 cents of every share as cash. So my question is that something that's a nice cushion for you?
Well, I think it's more than 40 cents. It's like a third of their market cap.
Yeah.
So you're buying like $2 of cash. That's really good. And actually, it's funny because
oh, you're right. No, I did the math wrong. Yeah, you're right.
No, their market cap's like 18 billion right now. So they're already buying back stocks. I think they have about $500 million left to buy back. So they're going to keep on buying, and they're probably
$1.47 of every share is cash. This is another. I love buying these types of, dude. I did that with not with Pound. I did that with Robinhood in particular when the market cap was 8 billion, 6 billion was cash. Any upside on the business is going to get a bigger premium.
Pretty much. And I mean, they're doing buybacks. They have a lot of money left in their balance sheet. You have the FX Singapore dollar because they report in Singapore currency and they convert to the US dollars in order to give the US report because they're on the NASDAQ. When that dollar comes back, not if it will, it will. That is when the stock is probably going to take off. And I'm not going to like time it exactly. I'm not preparing for it, whatever. I already have my position. I'm just saying that there's a lot of money flow being tightened outside of the US markets. And when that does happen, then you're going to see it come back. Look, it already pulled back today.
What level
do you want above 108 today?
You want to see it come down to below 100 for this too?
No, it's probably not going to. It'll probably be more of a technical bounce than anything. And we've already seen rates kind of base out a little bit from the massive drop that it had, or from the massive rise in rates that we saw after Powell made his commentary. So it's possible we might get a little pullback. We might get a Santa Claus rally into next year. They already talked about increasing the debt ceiling, right? So
right.
It kind of sets up a bullish landscape.
All right, Sam. There you go. Thank you for joining. We wanted to know about Nubank Meli. People continue to want to know about Grab. I think it's getting kind of obvious. I mean, $1.47 of every $5 is cash. Company's growing. They're profitable. Buying back shares. Free cash flow margins. Anthony Tan is a rock star. You should have told me this at $3, bro. I thought you were a friend. You didn't.
I was telling everyone at $3. No one listened to me.
Well, that's why you're up on this.
Yeah, no, it's all good, dude. It's all good. I don't think anyone's missed it, to be honest. Like I feel like it's more of a long-term play. I don't think you're gonna see that like double in a week. And not a lot of people are talking about it, which is actually good, right? Isn't it good that not many people are talking about it right now?
Yes.
When Wall Street starts talking about it, that's when like the cat's kind of out of the bag, but that's when it might make its appreciation. So
and they already did. You got some updates, some upgrades at $7 or $8. So Wall Street's already kind of getting ready.
There you go. Yeah, we'll see, man. We'll see. Let's just hope the dollar depreciates a little bit. That'll be good for everyone.
All right. There's Sam on Twitter. Check him out. Sam, enjoy your holidays. Appreciate you, brother. We'll talk to you next time.
Thanks a lot, man. Appreciate it.
See ya. All right. There you go. Shout out to Sam. Make sure everyone checks him out on Twitter if you want to get more updates on his DD. Sam is an awesome guy. I've known him for like the past couple months now. He's been helping Chris with all of his Patreon stuff. So yeah, dude, I mean, I really didn't even calculate the math correctly. 30% of every, of the share price is cash. I thought it was 40 cents. So I was doing like 6% or 10% at 30%. Yeah. You get $1.47 off of $5. That's cash. It's not bad. Not bad. They just got to continue profitability, free cash flows, EBITDA margins increasing. And, this one might be able to play out. All right. We're going to end out with Palantir. I'll give a call to Steve. I'll see if he picks up. I don't know if he will be able to because, again, he's been in meetings all day. But Palantir down a little bit after hours, $79.98, $80.55 is what we have the close on. And Yeah, I mean, look, we got 80. We got 80. You've got a decent amount on Twitter that are decent amount of people that are still upset that we're at 80. But it's fun, dude. It is very fun. Look, does the valuation really get justified here? Probably not. 183 billion is a lot to be paying, obviously, for Palantir. But based on what UBS said, and again, I'll be going through that update and putting out a video soon about the entire report. It looks like, this is so interesting, right? Like literally the first line of the report is like, we know it's expensive. We get it. Like that's literally the first line of the report. Basically, they're like, we get it. It's up there. It's expensive. But there's something here that we need to care about in a much more meaningful way. And the fact that they took the time to interview that many clients to go through this and get deeper and to figure out what they were missing on this story. Valuation's definitely a concern for them, but they're only projecting 28% growth, which is above street estimates. If Palantir gets to 30 or 35%, which I think actually is possible, bro. I really think there's a shot, if not 40%. You're going to have not just UBS, you're going to have every single Wall Street firm get closer to that $80 price target, just based on the pure idea that there is something different and special and unique about this company. It's really cool, bro. It's really cool. Again, it's just one of those names in life where it's like you're a different breed of company, leadership, management, culture. These companies don't come around often. The bears will say it's the most overvalued thing in the world. The bulls will say, yes, it's expensive, but you're not looking at a lot of things that you need to look at to analyze this. The bears will say none of those things can justify any of the numeric assumptions that you put into the valuation model. And that's going to be the debate for the next 10 years. That is literally going to be the debate for the next 10 years. I can already see it happening. That's going to be that. Because first of all, the debate's already been happening for the past 4 years. It was the bulls arguing against the bears that were undervalued. Now it's the bulls kind of being like, all right, we're not undervalued, but we're definitely not the most egregious bubble in the world. And long-term, we probably are undervalued if we believe Palantir is going to $1 trillion. I mean, dude, 200 billion, right? 183 billion. 200 billion is 20% of $1 trillion. My math is right? My math is good. Okay, 20%. We're good. I mean, dude, 20%, 1/5 of the way there. Kind of wild. Dan Ives' description of the Bears is so funny. Yeah, that was hilarious yesterday. That was hilarious yesterday as well. It's pretty cool, man. It's pretty cool. Have you made a video on Grab? No, but basically we just did a video on Grab with Sam. I also did an original Grab thesis with him. If you type in Amit Grab thesis, it'll pop up on one of the market closes from 3 weeks ago. So you can watch that. But I did a Twitter thread about it. Again, I'll link it right here. I need to find a place where I can have all my links that are easy for everyone to access so that you guys can just immediately get that stuff. But I published all of it on November 30th. That's when I was publishing this stuff. There will be a time when it'll be 50 again. Just saying, you might be right. You could be right, dude. Maybe we go back to 50. Maybe we go back to 65. Maybe we pile up all the way to 95. Like, I don't know where the stock goes. At this point, I'm tired of trying to figure out where price action will go. It's so funny. I spent the first 2 years of covering Palantir not really caring about the stock because the stock wasn't moving. So every day it was just like, is this like real? Like, or is this like bullshit? And now 2 years later, it's like every day it's about the stock because the stock has shit. But the reason I bring that up is because I'm getting back to just not caring about the stock. Like when it was from $6 to $8 for 18 months, it kind of couldn't care about the stock because it was boring to talk about the stock. Now it's like, maybe the stock will go up, but I kind of just want to keep talking about the progress of the company to continue establishing the credibility to maintain these multiples, if not expand them. And that just requires digging deeper into Palantir as a company in and of itself. Zocolt said they said all this stuff about the Mag 7 stocks. Yeah, they did, man. They did. Amazon's the best example. And I know Amazon, people hate that example because of how big Amazon is in comparison to Palantir, but it was unprofitable for, I think, a decade. I think they switched to profitability. What was it? 2014 to 2019 was when everyone was kind of like bearish Amazon on Wall Street because they couldn't turn a profit. No one really understood what they were doing with AWS to get to the point where they're getting a profit. To me, that's Palantir's ontology. No one really understands what they're doing to operationalize AI. And that eventually will lead to growth. It led to growth for Amazon, and now we're here. And so I think that could continue to happen into the future. If you knew Palantir was going to 40 tomorrow, would you sell? It depends on what your average is. If your average is 55, yeah, you can get to buy it in cheaper. If your average is in the 20s, below 20, I mean, no, right? Because again, if you have an average below 40, because that's the example you put on this comment, then you have to ask yourself, will it get to that average, right? This is why, there was this guy that I had a lot of shares in the $7-8 range that I think I saw on Twitter, and he sold a bunch of it and he bought some other stuff. And I mean, you got to imagine he's upset right now, right? Because from 7 to 70, I mean, you got your 10x, and I think he bought it a couple years ago. So it's like, hold on, wait a second. Like if you sold at 20 thinking it would get back to 15, or you sold at 35 thinking it comes back to 22, it's just hard to time that, right? But if you know it's going to 40 and you own it at 60, yeah. But if you own it at 20 and you know it's going to 40, it's not going back to 20, right? So it's like you're not going to be able to get that type of average again, or to at least get that type of entry point. I shouldn't say average, but that entry point, which means you're going to end up paying more for those shares. We did get another price target today. Yes, we got an $8 price target on Palantir, believe it or not. I forgot to mention this. I actually saw it after the market open. I was going to mention on the close, but then we rallied to 80 and I didn't see it. But one of the analysts, I didn't even know this guy was still analyzing Palantir. Let me pull up the report. But he had a $3 price target and he upgraded us to 8, which is very considerate of him. I mean, like truly, it means so much that we got that extra $5. So really happy about that. But where is this post? I gotta find it. Palantir $8. Let's see. I didn't even know this guy was here. Oh yeah, this is David Williams from Benchmark. So I didn't know anyone had a lower target than Rishi, but yeah, David Williams from Benchmark. He's number 112 out of 9,200 analysts on tip ranks, and he raised Palantir to a buy with an $8 price. I don't even understand why you would say buy if it's an $8 price target. So yeah, we got from 3 to 8. Like at this point, maybe he did this years ago and he forgot about it. Randomly, he woke up today. I was like, oh yeah, that stock I analyzed, Palantir. I need to upgrade it. And it goes from 3 to 8. This is ridiculous, as Jody says right here. Correct. This is ridiculous. Give him a break. He forgot the 0 next to the 8. I wish he forgot the 0 next to the 8, dude. Like that would make this make sense. But 3 to 8 is just weird, bro. Very, very weird. He's got to be trolling. Maybe, dude. I mean, but this guy's not building his brand like Gordon Johnson off of the Tesla hate. So I don't even think this guy's in like, he doesn't talk about Palantir. He doesn't do interviews about Palantir. He just woke up one day and was like, I guess I just want to like increase my price. It was just weird. It was weird, but that's what we had. Let me show you guys a couple clips of Carp. We posted it on Daily Palantir. For those that don't follow this Twitter account, if you didn't know, you might have seen it on Twitter. I run this account, and it's kind of been just like a community project out of love. We cover Palantir every single day. There's these 2 clips we found of Carp, and we posted it the other day, and I just want to share it with everyone again because it's been a while probably since you've seen this, but these 2 clips this one got 314,000 views, so this one got a lot of attention. So here's Carp talking about golf.
We don't play golf. What we do is we play software. We don't play golf. What we do is we play software. We will if you want to actually compete on your product. And what's very special, and yes, do I enjoy humiliating people who have better steak dinners and sharper knives and better golf swings? Yes, I do. You know what? I really like that we win in that way. It makes me very happy. And it makes our clients happy because let me finish.
Keep going, but we're getting close.
Great. Well, and why are our clients happy? Because American industry knows that this is a structural advantage and that needs the best products. And why is the boot camp overrun? We don't play golf.
You just gotta love him, dude. Here's another clip from that interview.
And every institution in America, and especially the Pentagon, have begun to come to terms with the reality that hardware-driven systems purely are inferior to software-driven hardware systems.
Your relationship, in particular with the Pentagon since 2016, frame Titan as how much progress you feel you've made serving that part of our government.
Well, look, I'm very exquisitely happy about how well we're doing, both in the government and commercially. But the most important change in the U.S. when we started building this company, the idea that software would power intelligence, warfighting, general health issues was viewed as something esoteric, scandalous, obviously questionable. The idea that America's primary advantage would be software was viewed as also esoteric, academic, self-serving.
It is not self-serving anymore, dude, especially with the government that wants to be more efficient. Again, man, Karp, he's different. He's different. There are some people in life that are just different. They operate on a different level. They have a different aesthetic. They have a different aura. They have a different sense of charm. When they walk in the room, everyone wants to listen. When they talk, everyone wants to listen. There's a certain thing about him that I think should equivocate to a premium on the stock on his personality and leadership alone. And I think the rest of Wall Street, when they see this random guy with this crazy hair talking with all the confidence in the world about how they're going to take the entire market, like, it's one of those things where if you can execute against that idea, which they've been doing very nicely over the past 4 quarters. In 2022, they were not doing it very nicely, right? 2022 was a hard year for Palantir. But if you can reaccelerate and change, a lot of the world comes together to want to make your ambitions become real alongside with you. And I think that's what we're seeing right now with Palantir. And he's made a lot of people rich with him. The one thing no one can say, especially about Karp's insider selling, is that no one else had an opportunity to sell with Karp, right? Or sell at a price above Karp. Karp has never sold at $80, to my understanding. Today, you could have sold at a higher price above Karp. And that is unheard of, bro. For an insider to sell the amount that Karp has sold. By the way, Karp's worth $7 billion now. Probably more than $7 billion. I checked it the other day. I thought he was like $2 to $3 billion. And I thought he cashed out on like $1 billion, but no, he's worth $7 billion based on the stock continuing to go higher. So if we get to 100, he's going to probably be a deca-billionaire. But it is unheard of for an insider to sell this much in a company that is still relatively small. This is not Nvidia with billions and billions of shares outstanding, or Tesla and Elon. This is still a relatively small company in terms of its media coverage. Like, to us, it's a big deal, but for the far majority of the world, they still don't have any clue what Palantir is. That's not the same for Nvidia, Amazon, Tesla, etc. So for him to be selling that much and for there to still be this much demand, particularly I think from the institutions, it's pretty incredible to see how this is playing out for Palantir. So that's what we got. That's what we got for Mr. Alex Karp. Daryl says agree, and I didn't really like him at first. I've grown to love him. I loved him immediately, dude. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, as soon as I saw him talk about philosophy, again, you guys know I'm a big philosophy guy. Like, he had me hooked. I had no idea what Palantir did, but I was just like, I gotta watch more of his stuff. And I think every single keynote I've seen of Karp, it's been at least like 30 of them over the past 4 years. But every time you just stop and you listen to see what this guy is trying to say. Got to listen to Dr. Karp with a dictionary in hand. 100%. Well, and here's the thing, right? Like, again, I studied philosophy in high school. I professionally debated. So a lot of the times where he's talking about these complex issues, and there are multiple breakdowns of me analyzing what he's saying on the channel from years and years and years ago. And honestly, that's how I established a lot of credibility on the channel as well. Because when Karp would come out with a 30-minute rambling of all this philosophical stuff, Hegelian dialectics, right? Like, I actually know about that stuff because I deeply studied it in high school and I competed on a very professional level for debate. So when he was talking about that stuff, part of the original content that got people hooked onto the channel was me analyzing what he was saying and just breaking it down to make it sound a little bit more normal. And I loved it because I was like, dude, this guy's speaking some really intellectual shit, but he's doing it in a funny way. He's connecting it back to technology. There's this level of excitement and arrogance that he has, but he already knows where things are going to go. And now it's just a question of like that playing out. And it's just been really fun to follow that journey. It's been exciting. Now, one thing on Robinhood, we didn't get to touch on this all day. We have a new stat on Robinhood. So Robinhood Gold subscribers, you guys remember Gold Monday, where they were giving out $1 million to people if they signed up for Robinhood Gold? They would get a 25% discount if they signed up for the annual plan. They signed up 120,627 people. Multiple people texted me today that they got $8.29 out of that $1 million pot. So 120,627 times 45. Robinhood did 5.4 million in revenue. They paid $1 million for it. This 5.4 million divided by 12 is another $452,000 a month from gold subscribers. And as long as that LTV continues to increase that lifetime value of those 120,000 people that subscribe to gold, hopefully for the next decade, those people are subscribed to it, which means Robinhood has to keep making that subscription better. Then yeah, it looks like $1 million to make 5 million and get 120,000 people. That cost per acquisition at $8 is not bad. To spend $8 to get these people is not bad at all. And again, the current LTV is 45 if they are here on 1 year. So from 8 to 45, that's not bad. That is a what? That is a 5x return on the $8 they spent in annualized gold subscription revenue. And those people have to stay for a year because they're paying annually. So they got the 45 up front. They're probably going to amortize it over the next few months, but they definitely have them for a year. Steve just said, are you going to call me? All right, so Steve is free. I should be able to call him. Let's give Steve a call. Let's get his reaction to $80 on Palantir. Let's get his reaction. Let's see. Steven Fiorillo. Hello.
What's going on?
Well, you know, it's been an interesting day, to say the least. It's been an exciting day.
Yeah.
Steve, I don't know if you had a chance to look at the markets at the end of the day.
I looked at the markets when I was in the car with a bunch of people, and I said the markets are absolutely fucking ripping right now. And everybody looked at me like I was nuts. I don't know.
Well, did you happen to look at a stock that you and I tend to talk about a lot?
Did I happen to look at a stock that may have an absolutely ridiculous valuation? Maybe.
We are at $80, Mr. Fiorillo.
Don't ring the bell in my fucking.
No, don't worry. The bell's not even. It's a long story, but $80, bro. We did it. Like, aren't you happy? Aren't you excited?
I don't really care.
Steve, we know you care. We know you
I
care.
mean, to be perfectly honest, I really don't care. It's just one more problem I have.
What's the problem?
No, it's just going to cost me more money to buy back my calls. That's all.
I've been saying it's time to buy back the calls for a while now. I've been saying.
Yeah, I'm making a decision to wait till Q1 because I don't think that this is going to keep up.
Wow.
I don't think it's a key. What? I mean, hold on. Palantir to 500. I forgot. I'm sorry. Palantir to 500.
Steve.
Yes.
UBS, okay, respectable Wall Street firm. They just initiated coverage at $80. I'm going to send you the report. This is not, hold on, let me just finish. This is not a bullshit report. This is a report where the first line is, guys, we get it. The valuation's up there, but hear me out. That's essentially what they said. And then it goes on for 10 pages about why Palantir is going to be one of the most exciting companies in the world, even though the valuation's up there.
I'm not saying they're not one of the most exciting companies in the world.
I'm
just saying at some point that this is getting ridiculous.
If UBS can justify $80 in a year, 12-month price target, I mean, all I'm saying is, look, if we're pulling a year forward, then I don't know if it has to go back to 50, like you're saying.
You're telling me that they're going to do a 200% revenue increase next year?
No. So UBS, so take a look at this. UBS is only assuming 28% revenue growth.
You got to be kidding me. They're only assuming 28% revenue.
Because we got something called the CARP Premium, baby. That one deserved the bell, even if other people couldn't hear it, but at least you could hear it because the bell's being weird with the microphone. But all I'm saying is that a lot of people are starting to get on this train and realizing what's going on with Palantir.
Good for them. Good for them.
I'm just saying, Steve.
I'm happy for that. Listen, I'm happy for them getting on the train at 80 because they missed the easy money. I am so happy for them. Get on the train. Keep it going up. I want everybody to make money.
Okay, so you know I'm just joking. I'm just having fun. Like, obviously, at $184 billion, which is where we closed today, I think that is expensive. I like, you know, there's.
I am glad that you think it's expensive and that you think that, you know, it's a great company. It's a phenomenal company. They got one of the most charisma-driven CEOs, one of the smartest CEOs. They do an incredible thing, and I will always be a shareholder in one way or another, no matter what, because I love the mission. It doesn't mean that it is a goodbye at these levels. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, I'm not saying it's a goodbye at these levels either. I'm just saying, and I think you agree with me, it might not have to go back to 40 or 50.
It may not have to go back to 70. I mean, it may not even have to go back to 75.
Yeah, that's true. That's
I mean,
true.
it doesn't have to do anything it doesn't want to do.
Yeah. All right. Well, it is what it is. And, eventually I know you'll probably buy out some of your calls. But I think waiting until Q1 is not that crazy. You could have a lot of macro headwinds. And so ultimately we'll see how it plays out.
Macro headwinds, you say?
So let's talk about the macro.
Macro headwinds. This here be interesting. What do you mean by macro headwinds?
Well, this week we had a press conference where the Fed said we're going to get 2 cuts instead of 3.
Yep.
And that created a ton of volatility to the downside. We got a ton of reversal to the upside today. Not quite at the levels we were at Monday, but a decent run back to those levels. So I think the macro headwind now is how stubborn is the 10-year going to be around inflation expectations, given the Fed basically said, we don't think inflation's coming down next year. I mean, that's literally what they said on the dot com. My question to you is, how much do you think the Fed is BSing about this inflation stuff? And do you think we're going to get more than 2 cuts next year?
I'm going to say something that's going to get me in trouble.
Good. I've been waiting for this. Here we go. Let's do it.
I'm starting to wonder what these people on the Fed actually know.
I don't think you're going to get in trouble. I think a lot of people agree with you.
Here's why. Why can't they just come out and say the obvious that anybody who's taken any economics class at an undergrad level should understand? Inflation going from 2.5 to 2.7 isn't a headline thing that should make them reverse course and increase their projections on the dot plot for the next 2 years. You want to know where the inflation's coming from? Housing.
Yeah.
The only way to get this down is to lower rates. The only way to get builders to build more is to lower rates. And the only way to solve this is to lower rates. Yet they're saying that they're going to pause and only do 2 cuts next year because they're worried about inflation going up. They're the cause of inflation going up. Period.
So
you want rents to come down, lower rates.
You think this Fed has no idea what they're doing, is what you're saying?
I am starting to think that they have no idea what they're doing at this point. And they just got lucky with the no landing. But you know what? I really started thinking about the no landing. And I've said this several times to you privately and on the show. And you know what? If you listen to the Compounding Friends last week, wherever the guest was on and Josh Brown both said the same thing. I agree with them 100% because I've been saying it. If you go back and you look at recessions back to the Great Depression in the late 20s, okay? And even if you take that out of it and you look at 53 to 83, there were 7 recessions.
Yeah.
And then you look at 93 to 2023, there was only 3 recessions. The economy has changed drastically. The economy does not depend on people buying washers every day or cars every day. The economy has gone from an industrial to a service-based economy. The economy is so much more sticky because the amount of money being spent on insurance, education, all different types of services, Netflix, cell phone bills, et cetera, so much more sticky than it used to be that I'm really, and I've been saying this for a long time to you, I'm not scared of a recession. I don't think one's coming in the near future. I just don't see it with unemployment not really going up. And because of how much money gets spent on a monthly basis from services.
So do you think the Fed should have kept 3 cuts versus 2 for next year?
The Fed needs to go down to 3% as soon as possible. As soon as possible. Here's why. We put ourselves in a situation, people who disagree with me are going to say something that's absolutely true. Mortgage rates typically have been between 5 and 6% if you go back historically for decades. And I agree because it's the truth. But we put us in a situation where there was cheap money for so long and people got accustomed to mortgages being under 5%. And then when the pandemic happened, rates dropped. And somehow, for a period of time, wasn't long, it was under 3%. But there was a decent amount of time where they were around 3 to 3.5%. Nobody is getting out of a mortgage that they have at 3% or 3.5% or even 4% to go to a mortgage at 7 or 8%.
I agree.
Nobody.
I agree.
Nobody. And even if you want to say that, well, historically this and historically that, go to the St. Louis Fed, or actually, I did it for you. If you go to Seeking Alpha and go to my Home Depot article today, I put a chart in there with the St. Louis Fed, and it's the 30-year mortgage versus the Fed fund effective rate, going back multiple decades. And when you look at it, you've never had the Fed effective rate go down as low as it did over the past couple of years in the 90s or the 80s or the 70s. This is a much different case. And so many people either bought first-time homes at low rates or refied at low rates that the only way to get this going and to get inflation down at this point is to lower rates to unlock the housing market. Because guess what? The nut that the owners pay, whether you're an individual or a corporation renting multifamily homes or single-family homes, you got to lower the interest rates so that nut comes down so they don't increase rents as much. You got to lower rates, of course, the capital is more efficient for builders to borrow to build more homes. Unless you do that, you're not going to get inflation to where it needs to be.
So your solution is we have to lower rates to get out of this situation. JPow's solution is we have to be cautious. And
tweaking rates is not a solution to everything. And playing around with these rates, it should be a last resort thing. And people should let the free market sort themselves out and not just jump. Now, during the pandemic, when the country was shutting down, the world was going crazy, that was a much different situation. It was a black swan event. But outside of that, 3% is a fair rate where everybody makes money. People don't get absolutely killed when they're borrowing. Financial institutions make money. Everything just kind of works. But when you start jacking these rates up and bringing them down, sometimes it does more damage because it takes so much longer to correct these things. And when you bring rates down to a quarter point or half a point, and people are borrowing at those rates, and it's not for a business reason and it's for housing, there's a lot less of a reason they want to get out of that golden handcuff.
well, we're not going to abolish the Fed. That's not happening. So
No, if you oil prices can only dictate so much. At this point, you have to hope that they really do go through heavy deregulation, production increases, not just stateside, but throughout OPEC plus. And you have to hope that oil gets down to around low 60s, high 50s per barrel to drive down input costs, to drive down manufacturing costs, to drive down fertilizer costs, drive down transportation costs. Because you'll start to get some reprieve on inflation that way also. But the big key right now is housing. That's the big key.
no, and mortgage rates went up this week, which is not good. I mean, it's not
What's
good
the 30-year at? 7.75,
No,
8%?
it's at 6.96, which is the issue. It was at 6.69 last week. So it's up 30 bips, which is
Freaking 7% mortgage rate is pretty high when you're talking about what the average cost of a home is, especially in the Northeast or on the coast.
yeah.
And if you were in this position where you borrowed at 3 or 3.5%, you're less inclined to sell and upsize to a more expensive house at an interest rate that's more than double what you currently have.
See, real quick, let me read some super chats and then we'll keep talking. Jay says, Amit, this is why I've been sticking with Palantir from 25 to 6 to 80. Keep up with the great work. Jay, thank you for the super chat. Stocks Vision Hub says, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. Thank you for that super chat. Stephen Lyons, America in Korea because of Tesla. Next milestone is because of Palantir. Thank you, Amit. You're doing something special. Keep it up. Thank you, Stephen, for being here. You got Tesla and Palantir, which is incredible. So congrats on that. Rob says, rest in peace to Steve's covered calls. Thank you for the super chat, Rob. I think Steve agrees. He'll find a way to get out of those as well. All right. So, I mean, outside of macro,
Maybe I won't. I'm no longer a PayPal shareholder as of today.
so
I let those called away. It wasn't worth rolling, so I just let them fly.
are you saying you're going to let your Palantir get called away? Is that what you're saying?
I mean, there's a lot of time left on the bone on this one, so.
I mean, look, all I'm saying is that I think this is a special company, and
I agree with you.
I get, but like, look, I mean, you listened to my pod with Dan Ives yesterday. He said you love Dan Ives. He said the same thing that you're talking about right now, which is
Look,
spreadsheet versus the long-term picture.
Yeah, and look, the long-term picture, I think the company goes way higher, and I think it becomes a much bigger company. It's just, in the meantime, I just think it's gone too far too fast. I could be wrong, but I think ultimately, if you're a long-term investor, don't write cover calls on a company.
No, but you're not wrong. It has gone too far too fast. All of us know, like, no, the company didn't expect this. The problem is, that's what Dan's point was, is that by the time people get interested, it's already expensive, and then they have to buy higher, and then that just keeps compounding the price. That's the point.
Yeah, listen, there's less sellers than buyers. That's all there is to it.
Yeah.
I keep going back to this Fed funds rate. I keep looking at this chart that I created on the St. Louis Fed site. I don't think that we're going to get reprieve on mortgage rates anytime soon.
No, I agree with you.
Did you pull it up for the chat?
Yeah, we are. Yeah, they've been looking at it.
I mean, when you look at that red line and when it was at next to nothing, rates were, prior to the pandemic, around 4.5% or so.
Correct.
And that's what rates are next to nothing.
I mean, and I don't think unless we get rates down to 5.5, I don't know if we're going to get like massive demand. Maybe 6 could help get people to start buying. But
I mean, I want to see, it would be very nice if the Fed had rates at 3%, if we were able to get 30-year mortgages at 5 to 5.5%. I don't think sub 5% is going to be a reality unless the Fed brings rates to 2%. It's just that historically, you needed to really go under 2% to get that great deal on mortgages.
Because mortgages are usually double the Fed funds rate, right?
And there's some competition. Depends if you go to a credit union or not. But, you know, the chart tells you the spread. I did it for everybody. It's right there. And it absolutely follows what the Fed does to a degree.
Yeah.
It levels out at some point.
Wayne Robinson, thank you for becoming a channel member. Really appreciate it, Wayne. Thank you for being here. Steve, you know what video I watched last night?
No, I don't.
I watched the video of our friend Alex unboxing Pokemon cards.
Oh, look at that.
I am getting a little interested in just, I'm sharing it right now on the screen, guys.
IRs.
I'm just
Mark Logan.
Open cards, and it's kind of entertaining. I'm not gonna lie.
He's got a rip and ship tonight.
I might join, dude. I kind of.
If you go to his website, yeah, he's got I think it's tonight. Well, what's today's date? 12/20. Yeah, he's got a rip and ship tonight.
I had no idea what he was saying about the cards when he opened them, but it was kind of entertaining. It was kind of.
I know you know more about this than I do.
No, I don't.
Nothing about it.
I know Pikachu. That's it.
Yeah, I know Pikachu because people say Pikachu. I have never watched it. I could care less about it. But the numbers do not lie. The historical data does not lie. And these are investments, in my opinion. And when you look at it from an investment standpoint, it has outpaced the S&P 500. And what Alex has done is incredible. I mean, this whole thing he's doing with the rip and shipping is incredible.
No, it's actually really cool. I'm happy we did the podcast. It was super dope. All right, just in terms of some stock picks, and then I'll get you out of here, Steve. Well, Home Depot. Why are you getting interested in Home Depot?
So, look, Home Depot is a boring company, but it has an interesting valuation. It's in a downtrend. I think it's down like $55 a share over the past month or so. And if it keeps retracing and gets to about 18 times forward earnings, it would get me interested to start a position. I mean, this is a company that is not going away. And I think that if the Fed actually does what they should do, in my opinion, then it'll be really good for Home Depot, because if the housing market becomes less restrictive, they should see a bump in revenue, free cash flow, and maybe margins also. Because if you have the builders building more, probably more sales at Home Depot. You have people doing home renovation projects, more sales at Home Depot. So
I like Home Depot because when I go there, I feel like a man.
Well, how about that you don't have competition?
Well, what about Lowe's?
Yeah, that's the only competition. Like you can't buy lumber from Amazon.
Wait, can you?
I don't think so. I mean, who would buy lumber from Amazon? I mean, seriously. I actually don't know if you can or you can't. You probably can, but once again, who would buy lumber from Home Depot?
You can get some lumber on Amazon, bro. I see some lumber here.
Yeah, but I mean, are you really ordering sheetrock and stuff from Amazon? I don't think so. Tools, yes, but I mean, I just feel like Home Depot, their only real competitor is Lowe's, and there's a big enough market for both of them. Independent lumber yards are more scarce than they used to be. I just think it's interesting, and if you do get the builders building again at a quicker rate, it should be really good for them. So if they keep going down, I'm going to get even more interested in potentially start position.
So Home Depot has a dividend, right?
Yeah, it's like 2%. Nothing crazy.
So I mean, Michael Saylor told me dividends are stupid. So I don't know. I'm questioning their capital allocation strategy if they're actually giving a dividend.
Yeah, I mean, you should question their capital allocation strategy.
I mean, he told me dividends are dumb, bro. Like,
well, listen, he's smarter than everybody else.
He is indeed a smart person.
He's smarter than everybody else. He's buying something that's not real. Cool.
Okay, no. Bitcoin's real. It's not fake. It's a real thing.
Okay.
It's just, maybe not as tangible as lumber, but it's real.
Okay.
Oxy. Buffett bought another 4 million shares today. Any thoughts on that?
He's going to end up owning this whole company. Nobody believes me. Nobody believes him. He's going to end up owning this whole company.
Yeah, I mean, what was weird to me is that he has so much in cash and he's deploying it against Oxy.
It's funny. I was looking at Oxy the other day because of how much they declined.
And how much they declined?
Yeah, shares are down like a third or so.
And he owns, I think, 30% of the or 25% of the company at this point.
Yeah, he kept buying after he did the financing deal for Anadarko.
Okay, so he's buying this. He's also buying Siri. Now, you and me have been trying to figure out for a year now why the hell he's buying Siri. Do you have any?
Yeah, it's for, I mean, my opinion's for the satellites. An infrastructure play.
But but that means the company is going to have to change from a media company to a satellite company or an infrastructure.
I had no idea. I don't even know if Buffett knows what they do. I mean, who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, I don't get it. I think there's an acquisition here, but I don't know when that acquisition.
I mean, if you really want to put your thinking cap on, he may have been thinking rates come down, more people buy boats and cars because cost of capital is less. If there's more sales in both of those markets, there's a higher rate of probability that they start a Siri membership because it's one of the features. They take the 90-day free and just don't cancel it, and the company grows. I mean, that would make sense.
I don't know. It's a little weird. But yeah, we do have Buffett deploying some money from his cash reserves. General 2025 sentiment, Steve. Did anything happen this week that changes your 7,000 target?
No, because the market came back today and said we don't care. I mean,
what if the market didn't come back today? Would you?
No, I mean, I'm at this point. I need to see a few things fleshed out, but I am not a believer that people are not going to spend money because something costs $103.50 instead of $102. Like I'm not buying that whole bullshit. I'm not buying it. GDP continues to go up. Consumer spending continues to occur. People are not getting rid of their services. People are spending on education. They're spending on healthcare. They're spending on AWS and Azure. I'm not in that camp.
Yeah, I mean, look, to assume that you would sell Meta to buy the 10-year to me is kind of wild, right? Like 4.5% is nice.
Different economy.
We're in a different economy.
7 recessions from 53 to 83, and 3 recessions since 93. And when you really look at, yeah, you can classify the recession with the pandemic as a recession, but look how quickly it snapped back. Now, granted, it snapped back for certain reasons, but the economy has been on absolute fire. I mean, it's just, you have less recessions now than you did back then because of technology. Like, if you look at a chart, if you go to macro trends and you pull up an S&P historical chart with the recessions in there, and you look at it and you bring it up for the chat, prior to the 80s, you had recessions quite frequently. And what you didn't have is a robust technology sector. You did not have any of it, which means that the economy was very dependent on industrials. That's not the case anymore.
No, it's a different world. It's a totally different world we're living in.
It is not the case anymore. People are not getting rid of Netflix. People are not getting rid of their cell phones. Like, the economy is more service-based than industrial-based now. It's harder to have a recession. And if unemployment isn't going to go up by a percentage point, I don't see it happening. So, no, I'm not worried about next year. I just think the Fed needs to get off their high horse and realize that they have a dual mandate, and maximum employment is more important than freaking inflation. Like, I don't know why people would think inflation is more important than Americans having jobs. That's the stupidest thing, in my opinion. Like, you want everybody to be working. You want everybody to be able to get a good job. To worry about if something costs $1.03 versus $1.02 is ridiculous. Because you know what? If you have deregulation and an economy where businesses can actually conduct business, and you allow the free markets to work, if there is a need for a product, the free market will find a way to create a solution, and you'll breed competition, and prices will work themselves out. We mess around with this stuff way too much.
Last question for you, Steve, for today. Do you think that the House of Representatives will actually vote on a bill to fund our government?
I don't pay attention. I don't care.
I mean, you definitely need to care about this. Like,
why?
Well, because if the government's not funded, that's not the best for the market.
I mean, politics is a shit show anyway. What does it matter?
I'm just saying, those people you cared about having jobs, a lot of them work at TSA, and they won't have a job if the government can't pay them. I mean,
we need to find a better way to do everything. How about that?
I agree with that as well. I think it'll get passed. I don't think.
How about it should have never got to this point?
Oh, of course, 100%. Should have never.
Look, I want them to fund the government. I don't want the government to shut down. It's just, it's annoying that it continuously gets to this point because people are too team-oriented. Republicans and Democrats do not work together. They need to work together, and they need to make decisions for the good of the country. And everybody just needs to stop with the bullshit, and they need to work together.
Yeah.
I can't stand politics.
All right. Well, I think they'll get it funded. I don't think they're going to let it. I don't think before Christmas, dude, they would do this. I really hope not. So I think we'll get the votes.
I mean, I hope that they figure something out.
So today's December 20th. Next week is Christmas. Do you have any plans for Christmas?
Staying local.
You stay what?
Staying local.
Okay, staying local. Yeah, me too. I'm not going anywhere either. What about New Year's Eve? Same thing? Staying local?
Oh, I don't go out on New Year's Eve. That's rookie night.
Are you, have you sat down and kind of reflected on this year and come up with a game plan to execute your personal goals in 2025 or not yet?
No.
Okay.
Why would I need to sit there and reflect and to come up with goals for 2025?
First of all, everyone, no matter who they are, where they come from, should take a moment to reflect on another year of life. Okay, you're alive on planet Earth. You reflect on it. What was good? What was bad? How can you get better? How can you improve? And then you make a game plan because you're an ambitious guy. You've got goals to attack the next year.
If you don't know what you should be doing, sitting there and reflecting on things isn't going to help.
You're taking it too literal. I don't literally mean sit there with a fucking notebook. I just mean like, take a
I'm
moment.
sure you have a notebook next year, sir.
I mean, yeah, I have notebooks, but like, you get my point, right? Like, reflect means.
No, I don't. Obviously, I don't get the point.
I mean, like, sit down, watch a movie, not do anything work related, and just like bask in the end of the year and kind of talk to yourself. Right? You don't talk to yourself. I talk to myself all day.
No, I'm not crazy.
This sounds so narcissistic because I talk to everyone for like hours on the stream, and then I talk to myself
but
all
I mean,
day.
You know what you should be doing, what you should not be doing. Like, you don't need to sit there and reflect. Like, you know what you should be doing.
No, but my point is I have ideas on how to achieve goals in 2025. Sometimes it requires sitting down.
Ideas, then implement them.
No, but it also requires sometimes taking a whiteboard. I have done this many times and just writing shit out and kind of seeing like, all right, what's the landscape? How am I thinking of stuff, right? That's not a bad thing to do, in my opinion. It's an effective thing, a productive thing to do.
You don't need to sit there and reflect. You know what you need to do.
I hate that you're winning this argument, even though you definitely know what I mean by reflect, bro. You know what I mean by that.
I mean, I don't know what you mean by that because sitting there and dwelling on things is absolutely crazy.
No, I don't think it's crazy. No, in all seriousness, I mean, like, look, if you've had a year.
Like, think about it. I eat horribly. I know I should go back on paleo. I don't need to sit there and reflect to know that.
No, but no, I think there's a moment where if you sit down with a freaking notebook, silence, and reflect.
You do have a notebook.
I might have a notebook, and you
do have a notebook.
Chad said, "What did I walk into?" Chad, you walked into me basically saying it's okay to reflect on the end of the year, come up with a game plan on how to attack 2025 if you have goals. Figure out what you did. Like, my eating wasn't good in 2024 either. I've got to get better with my diet. I agree. But writing that down and like actually like internalizing it is better than just telling yourself, oh, I'm going to eat better.
It's a waste of time. You know you got to do it. Just do it.
That's actually very motivational, but I still think I'm being more motivational than you, even though you're cutting to the point. But I'm like setting up the foundation for the point to make sense. So
yeah, I guess I don't need to set up the foundation. I know what I need to do, and it's just doing it.
Okay, so what are your? Do you have any professional goals for 2025?
Professional goals for 2025? Really?
Why are you laughing at these questions, bro? These are bait. Like, do you want to upload more articles on Seeking Alpha? Like, it's just your goal.
I write for fun.
I mean, you definitely. If you weren't getting paid, I don't know how much fun you would be writing for. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I mean, I may write a little less if I wasn't making money doing it, but I don't do it because I need the money. I do it because I enjoy it.
I was expecting you to say you're starting the Pokemon NFT business next year, but that's apparently
no. Look, if you really want me to go down the business plan for that, I can, because I really do think there's a big opportunity there. I just don't think it can work the way that I want to do it. And I am serious. I did write out a whole business plan for this. It's too expensive and just too intricate to pull it off. I mean, we're talking 24-hour armed security. You need temperature control, full storage like Iron Mountain. I mean, it's very complex, but don't think of it as tokenizing. But being able to sell fractional shares of a physical asset and creating liquidity from a physical asset is something that we do not have in the sports card market or the TCG market. So having a company become the authority in that, where you can send something in, set the price, set the amount of shares, and I would say every product that gets sent in should have 1,000 shares or 100 shares, whatever it is. And being able to send that in, say, I want to put 50% of the shares into the ecosystem, and then you keep 50% of the shares in your account. You can keep them, you can sell them at a later date, whatever it is. And
see, no. See, this is what I mean. This is what I mean by ambition. You're describing me this whole business model, and then you're not taking action on it. But the fact that you're willing to spend the time describing it means you actually want to do it. But you're not sitting down and writing it in a notebook.
Listen,
and that's why you're not. And that's why you're not executing.
It's not. I don't think it could be I don't think it would be a profitable business.
All right. So then why are you even describing it to me? I mean, it sounds like you're kind of passionate.
So I won't describe it to you then.
Okay. No, I'm just saying, cut to the point, right? Cut to the chase. That's. I think you actually want to execute it, but if you sat down, had a notebook, had some cookies and milk, wrote it down, you never know.
Dude, can you pull up a comment for me? Cool comic guy.
This one? Steve was never invited to the cool kids party, so he can reflect on. So all he can reflect on is losing his Palantir calls. I feel him.
I beg to differ.
Steve was
if I showed you pictures of my childhood, my young adulthood, you would not believe them, but you'd have to believe them because there's documentation.
Steve has partied way more than I have in his 20s. Let's just say that. A lot more.
You got. I don't think these people can handle it.
Okay, I have a take for you. All right, we're gonna end the show on this take. Now, I want to tweet this take because I think this is a really good take. I put the take out on the Market Open. Let's just say I was eviscerated by the comments. I expect you to eviscerate me as well, but I still believe in it. I think it makes sense. And maybe if you think for more than 2 seconds outside of your emotional reaction to it, you might agree with me as well. Are you ready for the take?
Let's go.
It's about movies.
Movies. You having to take about movies is not going to hold much weight, but go on.
I think High School Musical is a top 10 movie of all time.
Oh, stop it. Don't even fucking... What are you doing? I've never even seen it, but the fact that it has the name High School Musical, absolutely not. What are you doing? Come on. Seriously?
Now, when we really think about this, all right?
You couldn't say like Superbad or something?
I need you to think before you... I need you to think. Chat says he's blocking me. I need you to think, okay? The movie is the quintessential teenage romance. All of us have had that experience where you like the girl likes you, blah, blah, blah. And there's a lot of good music attached to it. And I think it's a level of nostalgia that every human can relate to.
I want to meet your fucking high school friend.
I'm just saying.
I would like to meet your high school friend.
Interstellar, Inception, Dark Knight. At the very end, number 10. I'm not saying number 5, even though I thought about it. Number 10, High School Musical. I don't think...
What are your other 9 movies? This I would like to hear.
I don't know if I know 9 other movies, but
because if you're I don't even know what High School Musical is, but I guarantee you it's garbage.
Wait, you've never seen High School Musical?
No, why the fuck would I see a movie called High School Musical?
Well, I mean, it's one of those it's a Disney movie. It's a feel-good movie. And
yeah, exactly. Go on.
You're saying a Disney movie can't be a top 10 movie? I don't think that's impossible.
I mean, now that they own LucasArts and Marvel, I guess you kind of have to by proxy, but you know.
Dude, I think over Christmas break, and I encourage everyone as well, watch High School Musical. Okay, get a cup of cocoa, put a little gin in your cocoa, right? Make a little spiked eggnog, whatever you got to do.
Did you just say put gin in your cocoa?
Dude, I don't know drinks. I'm just saying, like
gin in your cocoa.
Spike it up, dude. I'm the same guy who wanted a white wine with steak at the bar. So, like, you know, just like take that with a grain of salt. But my movie takes, although I know they're not that respected, High School Musical is a good movie. It's not a bad movie. And I think if we asked enough people on the planet, there would be more than 35 to 40% that say it's a top 10 movie of all time.
Give me 5 other movies.
Interstellar, Inception, Dark Knight, Wolf of Wall Street, and then honestly, High School Musical is in my top 5. But I'm not saying it is a top 5. It's in my top 5.
I just
but in top 10.
How you can put Dark Knight, Interstellar, Inception, Wolf of Wall Street in the same sentence as something called High School Musical.
When you put it like that, no, when you put it like that, it obviously sounds like distorted from reality.
It doesn't make any sense to me because Dark Knight is arguably, well, see, it's hard because you're going Dark Knight. I'm thinking Batman Begins. I obviously think Christian Bale is the best Batman, even though I love Michael Keaton as Batman. But arguably, That or Batman Begins is the best Batman. Great movie. I can easily see that being a top 10 movie. Won't give you flack on that because I agree with that. Inception was awesome. I mean, Wolf of Wall Street is arguably the greatest finance movie there is.
Well, I just put a poll in the chat. I've got a 90% no and a 10% yes.
Yeah, I don't even think you could put a 0 on the end of that, the top 100, and you'll probably still get the same.
Okay, no. Relax. It's definitely top 25 if we're not doing top 10.
It's not even top 100.
I
don't even need to say it. It's not even top 100.
Look, I think, a lot of people said Grindr. I'm up 25% on Grindr. I'm just saying, like, sometimes you got to be contrarian here. And
there's nothing contrarian about this.
There's absolutely something. It's 90% no. Everyone's saying no. I'm absolutely being contrarian here, but I'm not doing it to be contrarian. I'm doing it because I genuinely believe it is a top 10 movie of all time.
Yeah, but here's the problem. You haven't seen enough movies to make that argument.
No, I have. I just named 5 of them that I watched. What? Like what? You need to watch 500 movies or something to be an expert? Like
all I'm saying is you've never seen The Godfather.
No. I've seen parts of The Godfather.
You shut Casino off after 10 minutes.
No. It was 25 minutes. Don't.
Oh, you shut Casino off after 25 minutes. I'm sorry.
I've seen Scarface. I saw Scarface.
Okay. All right. But you've never seen Goodfellas. You've never seen A Bronx Tale.
I've seen Back to the Future.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know why you need to watch Goodfellas and Godfather and A Bronx Tale to be an expert on movies. I don't think that.
Did you ever see 13 Hours?
Yeah.
You did see 13 Hours.
I did.
Okay, good. Did you see Black Hawk Down?
Yeah.
Yeah, really? You're gonna Google it to see what it is.
13 Hours, the Secret Soldiers of Benghazi. Yeah, of course I've seen this shit, bro.
Yeah, you freaking just Googled it. Okay.
No, I didn't Google it. I didn't know I
heard
Googled
the keys. I heard the keys.
Wait, you heard the keys? Damn it. Why are these keys so freaking loud? What the fuck? Why does this mic want to work now? It doesn't want to work when the bell's going, but look.
I mean,
at the end of the day, I'm just saying, I know we can't compare movies to stocks. And at some level,
there's so many great movies, but you just say that something called American Musical, whatever it is.
It's High School Musical.
Whatever. How about Ferris Bueller's Day Off?
Oh, I've seen that. I saw it.
Great movie.
Good. I think High School Musical is better, but it's a good movie. It's a good movie, though.
I mean,
it's a good movie. It's not bad. I didn't like the ending that much, but it's okay.
How about American Pie? Why couldn't you pick?
So someone said that today. Someone said like American Pie is better. I was like, get the heck out of here. American Pie is not better than High School Musical. It's not true.
American Pie is hilarious.
It's funny, but
hilarious.
It's not better than High School Musical. It's just not. It's not.
I mean, I just don't know what to say anymore. I don't know what to say.
I'm just saying, sometimes the world agrees with you. I don't know if you heard, but Goldman Sachs says, Grindr, we like it, $20. And I think, it took...
listen, I don't hate those types of companies. Match.com, I don't hate those companies.
I get it. I'm just saying, I think in a couple months, people are going to just watch the movie again, reevaluate the list of movies they've seen, and they might come out with a little bit of a Goldman Sachs type of, yeah, you know what, we kind of think it could at least get into the top 50. And I think...
okay.
I think there's a world in which this plays, and I'm not just doing this to be funny, bro. I really
don't get it. Like, why can't we say like freaking Pulp Fiction?
No, Pulp Fiction. Okay, don't get me started on that one.
How about The Matrix?
Pulp Fiction and The Matrix suck. They have certain scenes that are good, but these movies are not like classic movies of all time, bro. They're not. The Matrix is freaking overrated. Like I'm just the sequels were disgusting.
How about Gladiator?
I've never seen that one. I haven't seen that one.
How about The Departed?
Departed's great. Departed's in my top 10. I'll put Departed in my top 10.
Okay. How about The Professional?
I don't know what that is.
How about The Usual Suspects?
That is not a.
How about Confidence?
Confidence? That's the name of a movie? Confidence?
Oh my God.
Who named the movie Confidence? What the fuck?
It's arguably better than Usual Suspects.
2003.
It's amazing.
Thriller crime. Dustin Hoffman.
Look at the cast. The cast is insane.
Who's Dustin Hoffman?
You did not just say who's Dustin Hoffman.
Who's Edward Burns, bro? Who the fuck are these people?
Oh my God. Oh
I
my
know
God.
Paul Giamatti. Paul Giamatti's from fucking Billions, right?
Billions.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I don't know
He's from a
Rachel
lot more
Weisz.
than Billions.
And who the hell is Andy Garcia?
Oh my God! You did not just say who's Eddie Garcia. See, this is why you cannot freaking make a movie list. You probably even have you ever seen Braveheart?
No, I know the movie, but I haven't watched it. But I know.
Oh my God!
No.
Oh my God!
Look, I think
I don't
actually,
understand it.
I think my perspective on movies is more special than everyone else's because everyone's seen all the movies.
It's special, all right.
Yeah, because everyone's seen all these damn movies. I have an open mind. I have a blank slate.
Why,
I have a blank slate. That's different.
You have a blank slate with nothing for context. How about Heat?
Dude, Heat is boring. Dude, I tried last year watching
Oh
it.
my God! How about Snatch?
No, I don't know what that one is. I've never seen it.
How about LA Confidential?
I haven't seen that one either.
I mean,
I
I just don't know what to say. How about Top Gun?
I know what it is. I tried watching it the other day.
How about Days of Thunder?
Dude, why have you seen all these movies? Like, how have you? I don't get it. Like, how many?
Oh, how about Tombstone?
You told me about it. I haven't watched it yet. But
Unforgiven?
all right, now you're just like bragging about how many movies you know. Like, this is not fair. This is like me talking about someone about stocks. I'm like, oh, do you know about this stock, this stock, this stock? Like, you've watched a lot of movies. Okay.
I definitely think I know more stocks than you.
Oh no, 100%. No, 100. I'm saying, but
how about Catch Me If You Can? How about Catch Me If You Can?
I've seen that movie. I like Catch Me If You Can. But I'm saying if I went up to a random guy who doesn't know a lot about stocks and I started mentioning stocks, they would be like, yo, why are you like showing me how many stocks?
Yeah, but you brought yourself into this because you're starting to make top 10 lists without even seeing a bunch of
No,
movies.
I'm allowed to make a top 10 list. I'm allowed.
You're allowed to do whatever you want. It just doesn't hold much water. It's a different story.
I'm just saying, bro. I'm just saying.
How about Any Given Sunday?
No.
How about Friday Night Lights?
That's a mixtape by J. Cole.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
But Catch Me If You Can is definitely a top 10. Catch Me If You Can is top 10. I like that one.
How about The Program?
No, dude. I know you told me about that a year ago. I haven't watched that. I've seen Shawshank Redemption. That's a good one.
You know, that's something that a lot of people like. I happen not to like it, but I respect it because it was very well made. It just wasn't my thing. How about The Big Lebowski?
No, I don't know what that is. The Big Lebowski?
Really?
Is that a baseball movie?
Have you watched Boiler Room yet?
No, I haven't seen that one yet.
Really?
No. It was kind of boring, dude. Last year you told me to watch it. It was...
What? Oh my God.
I don't know what to tell you, bro. I don't know. I'm not doing it to troll or be funny. Like, my mind works in weird ways.
You're
like,
totally doing it to troll.
No, I genuinely believe High School Musical. But now I don't want to tweet this because now everyone's like so against me. I feel
Please
like...
do not tweet. Do not tweet this. Do not tweet this.
Why? Like,
Because you're going to get absolutely unfollowed by people. Don't tweet it. Please. Have you ever seen Point Break?
Point Break?
You've never seen Point Break?
No.
What is? Oh my God. See, this is why you should not tweet this because you have not a lot of context. You're putting something ridiculous as a number 10 in something that people take very seriously. I mean, this is like saying Michael Jordan is not in the top 3 greatest basketball players or isn't even the greatest basketball player.
No.
This is the level of ridiculousness.
No, but I'm not saying one of your movies that you're mentioning is not top 10. I'm just mentioning a movie that is top 10. There's a difference.
No. You're making a definitive statement with seeing like no movies. That's the problem. Then.
No, I have seen movies. Yeah, I haven't seen all of the movies. I've seen
not
movies.
Nearly enough.
Well, I think the bright line for that is incredibly subjective. I mean, like how many movies do I need to be a connoisseur on movies? 100 movies, 1,000 movies? Like that there's no answer to that.
At least hundreds.
Yeah, see, that's ridiculous. No one needs to watch hundreds of movies.
Have you seen the Lord of the Rings trilogy?
I'm working on it. It's a trilogy. It takes time. There's 3 of them.
Have you seen all the Star Wars movies?
Okay, Star Wars. I'm not even going to say what I was going to say.
Empire Strikes Back is amazing.
I haven't seen Star Wars. First of all, why is it not chronological? Like, why did the ending come in the beginning? Like, I don't even understand. I don't get that thing at all.
Because they made the first.
Because it's not that good. That's the reason, bro. Like, that's
Star Wars is a cultural phenomenon. Don't start with that.
That's why I didn't want to get into it. I don't want to.
Cultural phenomenon.
I'm going to defend my High School Musical argument. I think it's a take, but it's all right. That's it.
I mean,
That's it.
there's some good movies that people are talking about in the chat right now. I mean,
Harry Met Sally. I like that one. That was a good one.
I mean, you gotta really get up on your movies. You really do.
I can ask you the same about like podcasts. I think like certain episodes of podcasts.
And you want to start talking about the best podcast out there? We can do that too.
Well, you see, that's not fair. You listen to podcasts a lot. That's the problem.
That's right.
You listen to.
You want to talk about books?
You know, I have a decent amount of books. I had a good reading phase. Now I don't read books anymore. I read articles, but I don't sit down and read books. I don't think I'm ever gonna have the attention span to read a book, bro. I really don't think so. Like the idea of sitting there and licking my finger and turning the page, bro. Like, oh my god, I'd rather like I can't do that.
Like, I think I donated like 400 or 500 books, and I think I have like 350 in my Audible.
Does anyone in the chat actually read books?
I listen to them on Audible now.
And yeah, no, listening. You listen to a podcast that's really long. Like most people don't read books anymore, bro. Like,
yeah, did you see From Dusk Till Dawn?
No.
Really? Terminator 2?
No, I already said I haven't watched Terminator.
Did you see Highlander?
No, Steve, I haven't watched these movies. Like, what do you want me to say? Like, I haven't watched
Dragon, Tiger, Hidden Dragon?
all right. What? I haven't watched. Whatever you name, I haven't watched.
The James Bond movies, not the Sean Connery or Michael Moore, and he goes, how about the Daniel Craig or Pierce Brosnan?
I don't know who these people are, bro. Like, who? I don't like. What are you saying?
So you've never seen GoldenEye or Casino Royale?
No, I've been to a casino.
Wow. Do yourself a favor. Watch Casino Royale tonight, please.
All right, I'll put it on the list, bro.
It is that good. It is incredible.
All right,
incredible. You ever? All right. So people may roast me for this, but I don't care. You ever see any Steven Seagal movies like Out for Justice, Above the Law, Marked for Death?
I don't know who Steven whatever.
You don't know who Steven Seagal is? Any Van Damme movies, Kickboxer or Bloodsport?
No, dude, I don't know what you're talking about. You're speaking a different language right now. Like you're.
How about Old School?
No.
You ever see Old School?
No. What is Old School? Like, what are you talking? Like,
you've never seen Old School? Can we watch a trailer for Old School?
No, YouTube's gonna block the stream. Old School from 2003. Oh, Will Ferrell.
Vince Vaughn.
All right. Oh, Ellen Pompeo. She's the Grey's Anatomy. She's in there.
Dude.
I watch Grey's Anatomy.
I don't know what to do at this point.
Dude, eventually I'll come to the conclusion that I need to watch these films.
You ever see Blade?
Blade, 1998.
With Wesley Snipes. How about Hero with Jet Li?
Hero? Movie?
How about Underworld?
I've seen Jackie Chan.
All right. But he's a person. You don't see him. What movies is he in?
He was in some movie. I don't know. All right, Steve. I gotta go. We gotta end it. Obviously, I don't have the best culture.
Yeah, I'm just trying to help you out here. Please do not tweet that.
No, now that you bullied me along with the chat, I'm not going to tweet it.
Seriously, don't get roasted on Twitter for saying some ridiculous thing that some musical is top 10 movie.
Dude, but it is. Like, it is. But I won't tweet it. I won't tweet it.
Did you at least see The Princess Bride?
With what's her name? Anne Hathaway? As The Princess Diaries, right? Wait, what the fuck is The Princess Bride?
Oh my god.
Princess Bride. 1987.
You killed my father, prepare to die. Oh my god.
Who's Billy Crystal?
You don't know who Billy Crystal is?
Mandy Patinkin, Robin Wright. I think I've heard of Robin Wright before.
Did you see The Town?
No, I haven't seen the dude. I don't know what you want me to say. Like, I would watch random conspiracies on YouTube growing up, not freaking The Princess Bride. Like, I don't know what you want me to say.
How about 300?
I've got 300 other movies that I can mention that are not named 300.
You've never seen 300. Really?
That's a lie. I can't have 300 other movies. No, I've never seen 300. I don't know what that is. 300 movie, 2006. Oh, this guy. This is the guy who goes, "Are you not entertained?"
Dude,
right? No, that's the guy. The guy, right?
are you not entertained as from Gladiator? Like, come on. How about the Kingdom?
They look the same though. They look the same, bro.
The Kingdom?
No, dude, I haven't seen the game. What about
No?
what about Casino Royale? What about that one?
Yeah, Casino Royale is amazing. It's, in my opinion, the best Bond movie there is.
Daniel Craig. No, I've never seen this one either.
Daniel Craig's the best Bond there is. People older than me love Sean Connery. I don't think Sean Connery fits the bill of Bond as good as Daniel Craig when you actually read the books from Ian Fleming, but what do I know?
All right, I actually have to go because I got to go do some stuff. So we got to.
Hold on, what books do you read? You want to talk about Dan Balducci, Vince Flynn, Nelson DeMille, Clancy?
Chad just blocked me. Chad just sent me a screenshot to make sure I know I'm blocked. Oh my gosh.
I mean,
Look, if we want to talk philosophers, do you know Friedrich Nietzsche, Albert Camus, Myth of Sisyphus, The Genealogy of Morals, fucking Immanuel Kant, The Groundwork for the Metaphysics of Morals? I mean, we can get into it, bro. Crime and Punishment, we can get into it.
I'm going to be nice and not say what I was about to say.
Marcus Aurelius.
I don't want to offend people in the chat. I don't care about offending you, but I don't want to offend people in the chat, so I'm going to be nice. I'll text you. I'm going to text you what I was going to say. Just don't read it out because I want to hear you fucking laugh.
Okay. All right. See, philosophy, I read some philosophy growing up. I didn't freaking watch movies. All right, this is gonna be the last thing, and then I gotta get out of here. I gotta finish.
And I'm gonna send you a picture that somebody sent to me, but you can't post it online, or I'll find you, and it won't be good for you.
I just saw your text. That's hilarious. That's hilarious.
If my text is hilarious, right? If I said that, it may offend people.
Yeah, you probably would have offended some people.
Yeah,
but people don't know, dude. People think you're like rigid right now. Steve partied in his 20s. Like,
so
you were a different animal in your 20s, bro.
Most people couldn't hang.
Most people could not hang. Charles Bukowski, yeah. One of the best poets.
So, Mick, this is from when I was 17. Look at your text. At the back of my truck.
Which one is you? Oh, I see it. Wow.
One of my friends sent that to me the other day.
Dude, can I share it? It looks cool.
No, you can't share that.
All right, I won't.
No.
Yeah, guys, Steve had fun.
I mean, does it look like I was having fun?
It looks like you were having fun.
Just saying.
All right, Steve, that's it. We'll probably talk next week on the show, but you're going to be on the Stock Awards show after Christmas, so I'll have you on. I'll send you all the awards, and we'll do that live stream, and we'll end out 2025.
Okay.
All right. Have a good weekend. I'll talk to you before Christmas next week. And yeah, are you doing anything this weekend or no?
No.
All right. Yeah, me either. I'm just staying. Actually, no, it's my mom's birthday, so doing some stuff for that. But besides that, all right, Steve. Appreciate you. I hope you take the time to maybe check out High School Musical. If not, that's okay. It's all right.
Okay.
I just, in the back of your mind, I would say give it a watch. That's all.
Okay.
All right, Steve. Talk to you later.
All right, later.
Later. I tried, guys. I tried to defend my take. You can't do it. You can't do it with a movie guy. You can't do it with a movie guy. I didn't know he knew that many movies, though. I didn't know he knew that many movies. Like, that was different. All right, guys. I got to get out of here. That's it for me. No Palantir Weekly tonight because Coach Strap can't make it. So we'll be back next week or later, maybe during a weekday. We'll figure it out. I got to figure out his schedule, but everyone will be on the show for Palantir Weekly. And there'll be a 2024 review. $80. We still are holding it after hours, folks. We are still holding 80. We got 2 hours left to close above 80, but we're at $80.31 after hours. Pretty incredible. $185 billion market cap, or $183.4 billion market cap, 280 million shares were traded today. up 8.54%. Not bad. Robinhood right here, 38.30 after hours. Bitcoin, 97,500. S&P, 591. Tesla did sell off into the close. Tesla right here, but it's up a little bit after hours, 424.45. And then you got Palantir, $80.34 after the bell. All right, that's it. Have a great weekend, everybody. We'll be back on Sunday for the future show. I think I'll upload a video probably on Sunday about the UBS price target. Going through the report, so probably on Sunday that video will come out. And that's it. Oh, we just passed legislation. No shutdown. No shutdown. The House passed it. Now the Senate has to approve it. The Senate likely will approve it. There you go. There you go. Congratulations. Our politicians got something done. The House passed revised legislation to avert a government shutdown, sending the measure to the Senate hours ahead of a midnight deadline. All right. Not bad. Not bad at all. Thank you, everybody. Love you all. Have a great, great weekend. Thank you, everybody, for the support on the streams over the past couple of weeks. Definitely for the Dan Ive stream. That was a big moment for the channel. And really means a lot for everyone who joined and was part of that moment and is part of this community. So thank you, everybody. Have a good one. I will see you guys on Sunday night. Bye, everyone. Good night.